Pats with the best road record during the regular season against a team that doesn't lose very often at home. In Seattle, 6 seconds in, ices the puck.
Levitt Machinery's WHL on Shaw is brought to you by Levitt Machinery, online at levittmachinery.com.
Talked to Colin Walchuk this morning. One of the many things that he said is coming into this game tonight, they haven't found themselves behind in a series so far in the postseason yet. It's going to be about emotional control and relying on your big players to have a big game.
Zabrowski, his shot blocked in the slot area. Steele has it knocked away from him by Donovan Niles, who starts the night with Barzal and Kolazar. That change was made in Game 3 one night ago, removing Ryan Gropp off of that trio. Steele handles it into the slot. Lead-all, one-timer, was at a tough angle and shot it wide. The Pats with some early zone time. Lead-all leaves it for Steele on the end board. Sam Steele, Mahura thought about moving in, does so, lets it go. In the shooting lane was Kolazar, and Barzal will take over in a Seattle exit. Keegan Kolazar, the big third-round pick of the Columbus Blue Jackets, sends it in, and both teams make changes in the game's opening minute.
Very similar to last night's start, as that Sam Steele line had an excellent start off the opening faceoff.
Philip Ball carries in. He's spilled by Jared Kishka, and Scott Inser plays it off the glass, held into the right point. Nick Henry from Portage La Prairie, Manitoba, cycles down low for Wyatt Slobosian, who's been an excellent performer in this spring's playoffs. He cuts to the middle, and Aaron Hyman knocks him down before he could shoot it. Moylaninen can't clear it by the pinching Harrison, and it squirts free to Volkin. With Moylaninen, carries in, stripped by Hodge, backhander, and the game's first penalty will go to the visitors.
Well, this is what these guys have brought all season long, all postseason long, and it's a good transition from Moylaninen and Volkin. He's got him driving to the net. Volkin hasn't had a point in his last 8 games, but he's done so many other details well. There you see him driving to the net. He makes it difficult on Brown. Seattle did a lot of that last night, and he gets hauled down. The first power play belongs to Seattle Thunderbirds. Here's the inside of the series stats, and to me the big one is the power play. And you look how last night 2 for 4 the Regina Pats, where they've scored 4 power play goals in their last 2 games, including the overtime game winner in Game 2.
Seattle was 1 for 4 on the power play last night in the 3-2 loss. Barzal, and a glove save by Tyler Brown.
We saw last night an adjustment that Colin Walchuk made after the first 2 games in Regina. The condensed box by the penalty killers from Regina really take away the middle of the ice. Barzal was putting pucks to areas, just to the side of the post, and the net front presence would pull it to dangerous areas. We saw Alexander True score exactly that way last night.
True out there with Gropp, Kolazar, Barzal, and Bear, the number 1 unit. Barzal, a point in all the playoff games he has participated in. Remember, he missed the first series against the Tri-City Americans due to illness, as Regina clears it the length of the ice. Ethan Bear, 4 points in this series for Gropp, past him, but Gropp will beat out the icing. Hobbs takes over behind the net towards Harrison, with True bearing down on him, and Wagner takes a solid jolt but backhands it the length of the ice.
Really smart play by Hobbs. Most guys rim that. It might go to the defending defenseman on the blue line. He just puts it to an area to give Harrison a chance to get to it and clear it 200 feet.
Bear the drop. Barzal chips it and then turns back. Puts on the brakes. Barzal swings it on right wing. He's spilled. Kolazar to True. A wrist shot right into the breadbasket of Brown.
That little play again. And a little detail when you're killing penalty. Connor Hobbs has this puck, and watch, most guys are going to get this and they're going to rim it. It's going to go to the defender if they do, but watch, he just puts it half throttle to an area. Harrison sees it, anticipates, gets onto the puck, and it continues northward. And as a group, they get the puck out of the defensive zone. That's just veteran-like, very mature decisions, and it makes the game so much easier.
Kevin, referred to, I think, by many teams at all levels as a community clear. Tishka. Enser moves from the front of the net. Second unit comes out. All but Barzell, who remains on the ice. He'll shoot it again. Didn't miss the mark by much. Strand rims it. Barzell pressured in a hurry by Liam Scholler. Squirts free. Enser. Moylanen had a quality chance and just missed. Enser puts on the brakes, looking for his first point of this championship affair. Tishka. Strand rifled it wide. Good puck movement by this group. And an attempted clear went off the back of Steele by Mahura, but a second opportunity, the Pats pounce on it and send it down the ice.
We seem to have significant things to say every time Enser is on the ice. Penalty killing, we know what he can do there. 5-on-5 works. Power play. You just get the sense that that line is about to bud.
Sergei Zborowski finds Robbie Holmes, who scored the game winner last night, to Brian Lochner. His pocket pick by Regina product Tyler Adams, who's had a fine series. And the Pats kill off the game's first power play. Holmes protects it with that big 6'3" frame. Holmes knocked to the ice by Hyman. To the line, past Harrison, and Zborowski will track it down, the third-round pick of the New York Rangers in 2015. Plus 24 in the playoffs for Zborowski, plus 72 during the regular season.
Playoffs regular season is 110 something, a plus 110, unbelievable. Good things happen, or I guess we should say bad things don't when he's on the ice.
Harrison to Dawson Leadall, first point, or at least first time he didn't record a point in a playoff game in 7 last night, but he did so many terrific things without the puck, especially in the third. Defensively, he seemed to be absolutely everywhere John Paddock's team would want him to be, protecting that one-goal third period advantage.
8 assists in the postseason. Keep in mind, December 3rd, a 7-point night against Prince Albert.
Wagner. And a glove pass. The reason for the stoppage between the benches is where we once again find Stu Walters.
Thanks very much, Peter. And yeah, Pats captain Adam Brooks missing his third straight game, but some encouraging news this morning. Brooks took the ice for the first time in full gear with a couple of assistant coaches, did a light twirl, and about 15 minutes on the ice, light shots, and was in good spirits. I would not say he broke a sweat, but and of course they did not give us an update on his status, but obviously a bit closer to a return for the Pats captain Adam Brooks.
Couldn't wipe the smile off of his face, let me tell you folks, when he got on the ice. Light shots, yeah, but he still snapped his stick in half. Can he ever shoot it?
There's a tough shot as Niles redirects the Strand attempt, and it just went wide. Austin Strand, who started the year with the Red Deer Rebels, working down low in the corner. Smart takes it away and finds Slobosian, who relays it in a hurry to Nick Henry, who was second this year in the Western Hockey League amongst rookie point getters with 81. He has 11 in the playoffs. Oh, a wraparound, and Stankowski wasn't sure where it went. All, who's had some big games and important goals, like the tying goal in game number 2 in this year's playoffs.
Game 2, a huge factor. Game 3, again, a huge factor. And here tonight, again, feeling the presence of the 6'4", 225-pound Swede.
Strand to shoot in, almost caromed off the glass and hit Brown and went in. That would have been an interesting way for someone to get on the board first. Thanks. Jeff DeWitt. Braden Buziak chips and chases with Holmes. Solid jolt from the North Battleford native. Buziak. True to Ethan Bear, and now Turner Ottenbright jumping up. Puck comes free on left wing to Robbie Holmes. Holmes scored 2 goals during the regular season. He has 3 already in the playoffs. Turned over. Didn't expect that, and Steele stopped by Stankowski.
We saw those 2 early turnovers, that one early turnover in game 2 in Regina that put Regina Pats off the stick of Sam Steele up early. That was that had shades of that game.
Enter upended. It's Dawson Liedall blocked and out of play. Kind of an uneasy sense in this building to begin.
Well, there's been some uneasy bounces that have gone both ways, but how about Philip Ball? A goal and an assist in game 2, and he has really been a factor. He always is dangerous down low. That big frame of him on that wraparound, good opportunity. And how about this carom off the boards? And Brown recognizes it's coming. I like the way he backed off. It could have bounced off of him and in, but he's just thinking, get away from the net. Hopefully it goes to a safe place.
Really alert. Interesting in this series, the majority of the time everyone stands at the Regina bench, while Seattle, you usually find them sitting down.
Two teams with two very different personalities on and off the ice.
Volkan to Moilanen, who got on the board last night with his first goal. Here's Hyman cruising in. Wrist shot blocked up by Mahura. Feet jam. Brown's not sure where it is, but as has been the case the last 2 nights, the light doesn't come on very often.
Third shift for this Moilanen Enzer Volkan line. They've had 3 scoring opportunities. They've really hemmed in Regina in their defensive zone.
And they work.
Go at the net like Badgers, I'll tell you. It's so hard to play against guys like that.
Keegan Kolazar in behind Strand off his skate, and back to collect it is Tishka, rated number 41 by NHL Central Scouting amongst North American skaters for the upcoming draft.
25 points in the regular season. He's got a goal and 4 assists in the post.
This is 7-goal getter in the postseason, Donovan Niles. Niles with Barzell and Kolazar. His pass astray, and Slobosian will backhand it in. Left by Stankowski for Strand. Shots on goal early. 5-2 in favor of Seattle. We're still looking for the Game 4 opening goal. Henry in hot pursuit versus Tishka. Slams it into the corner. Strand now all a chance, and steered confidently by Stankowski out of play.
You look at Seattle's regular season, it was 2 very different tales. They started the season up to December 31st, 19-14-4-2 in their second half, 27-6-2. They haven't lost back-to-back games like they have now here in the postseason since all the way back to December 13th, where they actually lost 3 in a row to Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, and Calgary. So this is new territory for a team who was maybe the best team in the second half of the regular season.
And you talked about those 300-plus man games that they lost due to injury, and they were to really key people a lot of the time. Gropp carries in with True. He'll shoot it. It was going wide. And again, Brown takes care of it. Ryan Gropp would be one player that I know Steve Konowalchuk would love to get going in this series.
Well, in his attempt to get him going, he's changed things up where he's on that top line most of the time with Matthew Barzell. This guy hasn't scored in the final round. He had 35 goals in the regular season. I asked Konowalchuk today, what do you got to see from him to get him over the edge? Because it's not like he hasn't been getting chances. He just has to compete a little bit more, and that's what the playoffs are all about. You have to get dirty, grind it out, and one extra step from Ryan Gropp. He's a player that's able to take games over. As Konowalchuk says, he's a game changer.
You hear this a lot in basketball about enough touches. It was interesting when we chatted with Konowalchuk today about sometimes because Barzell has the puck so much and commands it that maybe Gropp, who has all the skills that you could ever want, maybe doesn't touch it as often. Thus, he's not quite as involved. Another reason for the shift. Holmes, good lead pass for Lochner, the Colorado product, and he whistled it just wide. Ben Buziak off the end boards, had an opportunity, and True comes away. The Big Dane, 2-time member of Denmark's World Junior team. He was the captain this go-around. Bear, Tishka, wrist shot goes wide of the mark. True after it against Buziak with Gropp. He pivots, lost the handle, and Holmes sends it down the ice, and the faceoff will come back in Regina territory.
Well, that last scoring opportunity comes from that third line from Regina. We talked about them last night. They've been the fourth line for Regina all season long, but here's the 16-year-old Brian Lochner. Did he release that puck? He scored 4 goals regular season. He's only sitting on 1 in the postseason. He's a third-round pick. Pete, I know you're real excited about this guy. You think he's going to score a lot. You're before it's all said and done.
Yeah, I really do. And he has 2 assists in his last 4 games. Matthew Barzal has a 19-game point streak going back to the end of the regular season. This is Strand. Blockered away, rebound. Ottenbright, a quality opportunity. Shot it wide. Barzal, one-timer off the outside of the post. Great chance for Barzal in his 2nd straight league final. Lots of assists. Still hasn't found the net yet. Didn't against Brandon. Hasn't yet in this series. Kolazar. That takes a bite out of Liam Scholler. And the Pats able to send it out of harm's way. Barzal at center, greeted by Liedall. Harrison back with Niles all over him. Here comes Sam Steele, who has points in all 3 games in this series. Wagner cutting to the net and just offside.
All right, folks, Tyler out here in the Heritage Club.
Chances at both ends, maybe none better than this one for Barzal. Still looking for our first goal in Game 4 in the battle for the Ed Chenoweth Cup.
Lots of assists, still hasn't found the net yet. Didn't against Bright, a quality opportunity. Shot it wide. Barzal, one-timer off the outside of the post. Great chance for league final. Still hasn't found.
Worms has not only paid for Trinity's recreational limbs, they've also enabled Trinity to get that confidence in herself.
It's very important to believe in yourself. The Worms helps me to run, jump, play.
All thanks to your support of the Key Tag service.
Before and after the game, Tony Roma's offers casual family dining. Tony Roma's, a family destination. Legendary ribs, and famous for so much more.
Early on.
I thought it was a fairly good start to getting pucks deep, grinding it out, getting some shots on net, maybe missing net a couple times. I want to hit the net a little bit more.
Did you ask your guys to increase the battle level from Game 3, but yet stay disciplined at the same time?
Yeah, again, you got to play on your toes. You got to play with a lot of energy, and you want to be physical and win the battles. But yeah, you got to stay out of the box.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, thank you.
Guys?
We all know how Barzal can slow the game down with his puck possession, which is a good thing, but I personally think more of this is going to lead to more opportunities. Look how they zing the puck around. Quick pass, shot on net, rebound, shot on net again. Look at that. A couple of opportunities and quality ones at that because they're moving the puck without hesitation. To me, that's an adjustment that I'd like to see more of from that top line from Seattle.
Barzal does have 5 goals in the postseason. 37 points, by the way, in that 19-game point streak that stretches back to the last 6 games of the regular campaign. His last goal was a big one. It came in Game 6 of the Western Conference Championship Series, the clincher versus Kelowna. Jarrett Tishka wrists the puck, and Brown taking no chances.
Talking about how explosive and dangerous Barzal is, let's check out his body of work from the 3rd period alone, down low, and this is when the pressure's on. They're down by a goal, and you need your best players to step up, and he was around the net. He had opportunities, but how about Brown's compete? He made it very difficult, but more of this. We saw with Barzal in the dying minutes of the game with the puck on his stick. You got the sense that it was just a matter of time. Of course, he takes the penalty with Slobosian, but he'll look to be more of the answer again tonight.
Tyler Brown has been sharp again. He's stopped all 7 that he's faced. Wagner racing after it. He'll win the race against Ottenbright. Protects it. Supported now by Liedall as Barzal tries to strip him of the puck.
How many times have we said Wagner wins his foot race? He's got speed NASCAR's jealous of.
Yeah, he'd have a lot of sponsors on his jersey if he was involved in that profession. Steele tugged down. There'll be a Seattle penalty. Harrison. Hobbs, one touch and cleared away by Ottenbright. And the Pats, who have 4 goals in their last 2 games of this series, operating at 5 for 14, have their first crack.
Well, sometimes this is what happens when you play a heavy game down low. Sam Steele does this so often, protects the puck. You can see Bear reach in with his stick. He gets the 2 minutes for hooking. And again, we've seen guys like Philip All get the puck down low, hard to play against, and ensues the hooking penalty, and then you see and you see Wagner win his foot race. He does it night in, night out. The fastest player I think I've seen in the league since my time in the Western Hockey League. He's so effective, and certainly not hard to spot him on the sheet.
Pats with a man advantage. Hobbs, who scored a power play goal last night, one of the 2 from All. Mahura, now he'll move to the middle, down low, cross crease attempt, and Stankowski stayed strong. He got his blocker on it. Mahura scored the power play winner in overtime in game number 2 to tie the series. Hobbs, great seam pass to Steele. Steele fans, and Volkin does not on the clearing attempt.
Well, I'll tell you what, Regina certainly isn't shy of Carl Stankowski. We've got 2 guys there minimum, most of the time 3. They want to get in front of the undersized goaltender, make life tough.
Steele, great backhand pass to All for Liedall. Now it's Mahura, the Anaheim Duck 3rd rounder from Liedall. Hobbs, the trigger man, back to Mahura. That's a different wrinkle we haven't seen so far. Mahura for Hobbs, who just keeps it in. Connor Hobbs, nice block by Reese Harsh, and he felt that. I love the adjustments in the playoffs.
It's a chess match between coaches, and you know both teams are extremely well coached.
Good kick save by Stankowski as he takes one away from Hobbs. Excellent movement again for the Pats on this man advantage. Steele hounded by Gropp. Gets it back off his skate. 20 to go on the power play. Steele off of Strand to Liedall. Strand staples him to the end boards. Harsh would like a stoppage. Both groups have to be tired. They've been out there the whole time. And look at Liedall fish that loose. They score! Sam Steele and the Pats for a 2nd straight night score first.
Well, we talked about it in the open about specialty teams and how much of a factor it was last night. Regina going 2 for 4. Here they get a big power play goal with only 4 seconds left in the power play. And I thought that they had puck possession. Seattle doing a real good job keeping them to the outside for the most part. Stankowski makes a big save but blocked shots. All 4 guys with Seattle committed, but how about Liedall stepping in off of the wall with a huge release? Pardon me, Liedall, it's Sam Steele. He picks it off that far corner, and there's the early goal. 6:45 remaining in the first. Pats up 1-0.
Great effort by Liedall on his knees to find Steele. His 10th of the playoffs. And he has points now in 4 straight games in this series. The 4 Broncos award winner, the player of the year. Gets Regina off to a great start. They lead the series 2-1. Tishka for Barzell, and Harrison stands him up at the line. Austin Wagner cuts to the middle before backhanding it in. Tishka with Ethan Bear, who was in the penalty box when the game's first goal was scored. Niles misses Barzell. Wrist shot. Stankowski shoveled it right in the slot area, but Seattle able now to come away as Barzell shoots it in, and he'll give chase.
Good active stick by Stankowski, makes the save. The rebound gets away at him. He swats it with his paddle to keep it out of a dangerous area.
Been an impressive first period for the visitors. Barzell back to Hyman. Came over in a trade this year from the Calgary Hitmen. Ottenbright to Enser off his stick. And again, as the game wore on last night, in the neutral zone was an area I thought Regina was pretty solid in.
Talk to the Seattle Thunderbirds, and they feel like they need to dictate physically, and that's something that they definitely have as an identity trait for their team, but discipline is huge, and we're talking about the best power play in the regular season from the Regina Pats. Colin Walchuk, 3 or less. 3 or less penalties. You're going to take penalties in the game when you play the game the right way. Things happen, but an early power play in the first period for Regina, and already the Thunderbirds have paid for it. There's attention to detail that they're going to have to take care of for sure. 2 guys leading the postseason in minor penalties are on the Seattle Thunderbirds. Strand and Colas are both with 14.
Yeah, Liedall's in that category as well.
Yep. He's got 14 as well.
Liedall picks up an assist as he's back in the point parade with his 24th. Sam Steele with the goal now is the postseason leading scorer with 29. Brown leaves it for Hobbs. Ahead it goes quickly to Slobosian, and the trailing all. And nice stick at the line by Strand. Here comes Moilinen from Sipoo in Finland. Mahura stolen by Answer. He'll backhand it to an open wing where Strand will get to it first. Moilinen, Answer, and Gropp now. Scholler upends him. And the Pats will find themselves shorthanded for the second time.
I'm trying to figure out which one he's going to take. It looked to me like both guys were knotted up with each other, battling, and they hit the deck. The referees aren't going to see it that way, and I don't think John Paddock does either. His palms are to the sky. We'll look at it again here. Down low, it's 2 big boys battling, 2 strong guys, and there's Scholler. Seeing Moilinen's arm wrap around Scholler, and then they both hit the deck together. Regardless, it's Scholler who's going to take the holding penalty, and a power play in response here. Seattle, you talk about key moments, they're going to have to make these extra man situations work.
Liam Scholler from Winnipeg, Manitoba takes a seat, and a second power play chance for the home side. Bear, Barzell, the same unit. Barzell, a lot more emphasis tonight on the power play for him to shoot it. And he'll have to go after. It looks like he may have lost his mouth guard right in front of the Regina bench. A lot of guys, I don't even know why they wear them. They're chew toys a lot of the time.
Stress relievers.
Barzell cruising in to Kolazar, back in front, they score! Ryan Brock has tied it.
Well, the good news, the Thunderbirds are on the board. The great news, it's Ryan Gropp. We talked about him, and you know that they needed to get their leading goal scorer in the regular season going. 35 in the regular season. He had 4 in the postseason. 3 of those were on the power play. Make that for us. Kolesar makes a beautiful pass, cross green. It comes from Barzell on the entry. There's the one touch, and we talked about Seattle moving the puck around quick, making 2 quick passes. Often you're going to find yourself with an opportunity at the net. That's what happens here. What a great pass and a nice one touch from Gropp. We got a 1-1 hockey game.
Power play goals for each side. Gropp from Kamloops has his 5th of the playoffs. And we're even at 1. We've said that a lot. Back and forth. Changing tides of fortune. Momentum swings. It's had everything. Now a steal. Moilinen, he scores! Sammy Moilinen on the wraparound. And the Thunderbirds strike quickly twice.
It's all about the bump-up shifts, and after you score or get scored against, you got to come back with a huge response. And how about Moilinen with his 2nd goal in as many nights? And down low, this is where these guys are so hard to defend. Their low center of gravity, their work ethic. He gets to the puck first, just wins a race, and how about the quick wraparound? It's too much for Tyler Brown to seal that far post. It's a misplay and a giveaway, and Moilinen is there to make him pay. Within less than 30 seconds, it's a 2-1 lead for the T-Birds, 3:35 to go in the first.
2 goals, 19 seconds apart. From Gropp, his 5th, Moilinen, his 6th, and 2nd in as many nights. And in a period that felt very Regina dominated, now the Pats trail 2-1. Remember, in Game 2, Seattle struck for 3 second period goals in 56 seconds to build a 3-1 lead, only to lose the game 4-3 in overtime.
This team doesn't give the in-house announcer a chance. They score in spurts, don't they?
Matthew Wedman and Mahura, and they collide after the icing call. And the linesman quick to race in to make sure there's no further developments.
Well, you needed a huge response. You look at Regina's last 6 goals. 5 of them have been on the power play, and 2 quick goals from Seattle in response. There's no communication. Look at that last goal again. You can see Brown. He hasn't got anybody in his ear. He doesn't know what's coming. He puts the puck to a dangerous area. But when you forecheck hard, you're going to make defenders uncomfortable. There's the turnover, and what a huge goal for the T-Birds to take a lead in this also desperate game.
Sam Steele had opened the scoring with his 10th of the playoffs at 12-15. Goals by drop on the power play, and then Moyalinen have Seattle, a team that trails the series 2-1 in front by that same count. Hobbs shoots it in. Stankowski tried to stop it behind the net. It's Harsh for Strand. He's pressured by Liedall. Unassisted, as we expected for Moyalinen. 17-year-old by hockey terms, but has turned 18. Here's Wagner. Puts on the brakes. Curls up. Now to Steele. Sam Steele. On the cycle for Liedall. Right back to Wagner. Austin Wagner. Steele will get to it first versus the defenseman of the year, Ethan Bear. And Steele a little shaken after that. Heavy hit. Niles to Kolazar, cutting, and ran out of real estate as far as an opportunity to shoot it. But now this is Donovan Niles to Ethan Bear. Bear, tipped by Barzell, goes wide. Seattle with pressure on the cycle at the other end now. Barzell, Ottenbright, Bear, who can really shoot it. Down low. Kolazar lays it in front. It's loose in the crease. Backhander by Niles. And Brown comes up with a very important save.
Well, after we see a real good job below the hash marks from Regina, they've been cycling the puck, and it's clear to me that they want to keep the puck down below the hash marks. Same is true for Seattle. They get the puck down to those areas, and who better to have it on their stick than your 225-pounder Kolesar? He puts it to a dangerous area, and there's Niles and Kolesar looking and sniffing for a second opportunity. And we saw how Brown battled last night. It was great with rebounds. Well, there's one that gets away from him. His teammates come to bail him out. Good chances both ends.
Brown expected Hobbs to take the puck. Instead, on the go-ahead goal, Moyalinen did and made the Pats pay as Moyalinen is crunched along the boards. Back out with Enser and Volkin. Tishka chops it as far as the line. Good lead pass to find Philip All. The Ottawa 4th rounder zings it at the net.
Tricky little releases. He doesn't break stride. Nice shot.
Henry locates it. To All with Slobozhin. Wyatt Slobozhin, an assist one night ago. It's been big in the absence of Brooks, and here comes the speedy Enser. And Zabrowski angles him off. Enser stays with it. Drops it for Bear. Bear cutting down low behind the net. Looks at Enser. Finds him. Wrist shot. Rebound. They score! Nolan Volkin. And it's 3-1 Thunderbirds.
You had to wonder how long it was going to be, and you knew that it was going to be just a matter of time. Based on the work ethic that this guy puts into each and every game, Nolan Volkin had 16 goals regular season, 44 points. No points in his last 8 again. It's on the shift with Enser. So good down low with an injected D-man from Bear. Gets down low, makes a great pass. The initial block. Like we've seen throughout the course of the playoffs in this series, Volkin is in good areas where he takes punishment, making and taking hits to make plays, and he comes up with a huge goal. 3 quick ones from Seattle. We talk about them scoring in spurts, and they've injected energy into this building with under a minute left in the first.
3 in 3:23, including Volkin's 4th of the playoffs. His first goal since Game 3 of the second round series versus Everett. His last point came in Game 1 of the Kelowna series. And Scott Enser had a feeling he'd be on the score sheet. Tonight he is. Seattle wants more before the end of the frame. Won't happen. On their feet at the ShoWare Center. Not as many of them tonight, but very appreciative.
The big key here tonight was getting some guys on the lineup for the Thunderbirds that haven't been pitching in offensively to get on the scoreboard. And both guys, maybe the two guys they needed the most, both come up with some huge timely goals in the first period where they needed to get energy into this building. Regina had a great start, but Volkin with that third goal. We see Ryan Gropp now get his first of this series, and I'll tell you what, that's something that Seattle needed. And are they ever a dangerous team when they have the depth of their lineup going? Early signs are just that.
Stu Walters has a guess.
Thanks very much, Peter. With past defenseman Connor Hobbs. And Connor, lively opening 20 minutes of play there. How would you describe your guys' first 20 on the road here?
I think we've been a bit lackadaisical. Gave up a couple of goals that shouldn't have happened.
You guys have been so even-keeled and good on the road. You know there's 40 minutes left. What's going to be the message in the room here?
Just regroup. We got to figure out our D zone a little bit. We got a little soft, so just little things to tweak.
The other end of the ice, can I ask you why you think the power play has been so effective in this series so far? 6 goals to date.
They come really hard at us. If we move the puck quick and hard, usually good things happen. So we just got to keep doing what we're doing.
How important for you guys to get bodies in front of Carl Stankowski? Is that one of the goals here?
Oh yeah, really important. He's not the biggest guy in the world, so if we get 2 bodies in front of him at the minimum, should help us out.
I want to ask you how much you're enjoying the physical battle with Keegan Kolazar and even matching up with that Barzell line. How much do you relish that challenge?
It's fun. They come hard. Kolazar's a big guy, and yeah, good luck to him.
All right, Connor, thanks for your time tonight, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, first period intermission coming up next. Andy Neal, Joey Kenward, Game 4 of the WHL Championship Series.
Folks, it's me, Don Taylor, way up here with my friend Murph. At Levitt Machinery, they sell, lease, rent, and service all these machines, and they offer certified training. Need a lift? Stack it, reach it, lift it. Levitt.
Craig! No, and don't carry it, dribble it! Dribble it! Craig, dribble it! Craig, shoot!
Is this some kind of Canadian joke, sir? I mean, I know you're the instructor and everything, but we can't carry the ball. How can we get a decent shot at the peach basket?
All right. Maybe we can allow a carry of a couple of steps.
And Mr. Naismith, sir, it sure slows things down having to climb up here every time.
Well, then let's cut the bottom out of the basket.
Ah, but I need these baskets back.
100 years after James Naismith from Almont, Ontario invented it, basketball was being played by hundreds of millions of people around the world.
Tony Roma's, serving its signature ribs for 40 years. With an expanded menu including steaks, chicken, and seafood, Tony Roma's is a family dining destination. Tony Roma's, legendary for ribs, famous for so much more.
Bob Dale Gloves WHL Central is brought to you by Bob Dale Gloves. Found online at bobdalegloves.com.
Well, a flurry at the end of the opening period, and the Seattle Thunderbirds leading Game 4 of this WHL Championship by a 3-1 count after Sam Steele had opened the scoring for Regina. Again, another power play goal, their 6th power play goal of these playoffs. Welcome back to Bob Dale Gloves WHL Central alongside Joey Kenward. But much like Game 2, a quick flurry for Seattle has them up 2.
You knew probably the way this T-Birds team had been playing through much of the playoffs that they were overdue for a real outburst of scoring. But I don't think many people were expecting 3 quick goals in succession like they had here. And a nice setup here on a power play, breakthrough into the Pat zone. Ryan Gropp gets his first goal of the series, 5 of the playoffs. And then on the next shift, 19 seconds later, Samuel Oilanen picks a pass off from Tyler Brown, cashes in on a wraparound, and then moments later, Nolan Volkin in the right spot at the right time gets his first goal of the series, giving him 4 now in the playoffs, and that's the ideal start for the Thunderbirds after having fallen behind early in this hockey game. Now, last night was just the T-Birds' second home ice loss of these WHL playoffs, Sandy, but it was also the first time all postseason that they had scored less than 4 goals in this building in a single game. They look like a very determined team here through 20 minutes, and they've got to feel very good about themselves going into the locker room after 20.
Now, Peter did mention, though, that Regina, that looked like an awfully good road start here tonight.
The fellow was a little tentative here in the building. You kind of sense that watching it at the ShoWare Center, due in part to the start by the Pats. And obviously when Sam Steele was able to capitalize early, giving him his second goal of this series, it probably had the road team feeling good about themselves. And still lots of hockey to go here, and we've already seen the Pats claw back from a 2-goal deficit in this series. But I think right now, if you're a Pats fan, you've got to think that some adjustments probably have to be made here into period 2.
I remember we talked after game 1, Jeff Odgers mentioned that the physical play may have been in favor of Seattle, but Regina showed last night they can push back too.
Jeff Odgers is at home on his couch in Spy Hill, Saskatchewan right now, smiling ear to ear because you're right, and he's right. The Pats have really elevated their physical play here since game 1 of this series last Friday night at the Brand Center. To give you an indication how much, well, in game number 1 in Regina, the Pats were credited with 28 hits. In game 2, in their overtime victory, they were credited with 39. Now the series has shifted here to the Emerald City, and they really stepped up their physical play. 43 hits in their game 3 win last night, and I would think that John Paddock inside that locker room is probably saying we've got to bring that element of our game back into these final 40 minutes if we want to have a chance to not only get on level terms on the scoreboard, but take a commanding 3-1 series lead.
Well, Robbie Holmes, youngster from Sherwood Park, 17 years of age, one of his biggest goals of his WHL career last night with the game winner.
Yeah, and seeing as he's in his first full season of major junior hockey in the Western Hockey League, it probably goes down as his biggest goal in any level of the sport. And considering he started these WHL playoffs with a goal in the Lethbridge series in round number 2 or round number 3, and then this goal that he scored against the Swift Current Broncos in round number 3, Holmes gets what proves to be the game-winning goal last night. Beautiful finish here, beating Carl Stankowski high on the short side for an 11th round WHL Bantam draft pick. Not a lot of people probably around the WHL who had seen this player play minor hockey thought that he would ever get to this level. Folks, during his rookie season, he scored only twice. Now he's got 3 goals, and his biggest goal has his team in a series lead in a WHL final. It's a good news story for the Sherwood Park, Alberta native, and we talk so much as these playoffs progress on that sometimes you need to look deep down your bench to get a player to score a big goal or throw a big hit or have a big block shot. In the case of Robbie Holmes, he has chipped in offensively probably much more than anybody would have expected, and he's got to feel good about himself heading into game 4 tonight.
That line with Buziak, Lochner as well, they've been a physical bunch also, and it's always neat to see as we go through the playoffs, players' progressions, and we're seeing it with Robbie Holmes getting his 3rd last night. On the other side, Keegan Kolazar, he got an assist on the Ryan Grob goal that got Seattle on the board tonight. He's had some chances last night and the first period of this game to also get one for himself.
Yeah, and I think that he's done a pretty good job of putting what happened at the end of game 2 in the rearview mirror now that this series has come down here to the ShoWare Center, and he's just collected an assist in that pretty good first period for Seattle. He's got assist in game number 2. He's gone 5 straight without a goal, but prior to that he had scored 6 goals in his last 5 games, and his coming out party was against the Kelowna Rockets. You know, he's having a very good WHL playoff. 9 goals, 15 assists. He's atop the Thunderbirds scoring lead entering tonight's game. And last year in the playoffs, Andy, he had 7 goals and 8 helpers, and I think he probably would be the first player to admit that he probably could have been able to give a little bit more in that WHL Championship final to the Brandon Wheat Kings. I think he has shown in this opening 20 tonight here at home, trying to get his team into a 2-2 tie to try to force this into a best of 3. He's brought his game back to where everybody had this part of the league expects that it can be at.
Well, and Sammy Moylan, another one who had gone a few games without a goal. Now he's got goals in back-to-back games. After Gropp had scored, he collects his 6th, 19 ticks later.
Sammy Moylan was in the top draft eligible prospects on either team in this WHL finale, has now scored a goal in each round of the postseason for the Seattle Thunderbirds. And tonight his goal, which we just saw moments ago, is the latest. As you mentioned, 6 goals now in the postseason to go along with 8 assists. That's good enough for 3rd overall amongst WHL rookies. Coming off of his regular season, the finished product had 21 goals, 22 helpers. He is at the Central Scouting's final rankings listed 110th overall amongst North American-based skaters. That was his goal last night here at home. Got his team back into it, but that's a big goal that he has scored tonight here. And although it might not be a sold-out crowd, it was a loud building when he was able to cash in 19 seconds after the opening goal for the Thunderbirds from Ryan Gropp. And Moylan, there's a lot of scouts here in the building. They'll be pretty impressed with what he's been able to do, not just these last couple of games, but for the entire postseason for Seattle.
Well, last night we talked about Seattle and their offense from their defense, but Regina's getting it as well from the back end. First goal of the series for them was scored by Connor Hobbs, and then the rush through games 2 and 3 also.
Yes, obviously we want to give great attention to both teams' defense because they're well warranted to be put into the spotlight here into this WHL finale. Now, the Seattle Thunderbirds have yet to get a goal in this game from a blue liner, but they have had an unbelievable amount of success from the point as far as shot opportunities converted, especially on the power play, by the Pats blue liners. Coming into tonight's game, the Pats had a goal in game 1 on the power play here from Connor Hobbs. Next night, a couple of power play goals from Josh Mahura. That included the overtime game-winning goal to put this series in a 1-1 tie. That was Mahura's first. Here you'll see his game-winning goal on the man advantage in OT. Then fast forward to game 3 last night. Hobbs on the man advantage scores his 2nd of the series. Chase Harrison, who had not capitalized so far in these WHL playoffs, gets a big goal in the power play to have momentum firmly in favor of Regina. Mahura's chipped in with an assist tonight. Put those final totals into period 2. 15 goals, 43 assists, and more than half of those goals scored by Regina's defense have come on the man advantage.
But they're down by 2 through a period of play here at the ShoWare Center in Kent, Washington. Game 4 of the WHL Championship Series. We'll take a quick timeout and come back with the second period on the way here on Shaw Access and this TV south of the border.
Join the movement. You have the power to give life. Donate blood today.
Levitt Machinery WHL Hockey is live on Shaw. Catch the NHL stars of tomorrow today. The road to WHL Championship glory ends here when the Regina Pats battle the Seattle Thunderbirds for the right to be crowned Ed Chanel Cup champions. For complete playoff broadcast information, visit shawtv.ca or whl.ca.
Hi, I'm Don Taylor here at Levitt Machinery, inviting you to watch Levitt Machinery's WHL on Shaw.
Welcome to Select Fluid Power, home of our brand new state-of-the-art cylinder repair and hard chrome plating facility. With a fully equipped hydraulic cylinder repair shop, Select Fluid Power is your one-stop cylinder repair shop. Open 7 days a week, serving Western Canada.
Well, Western Hockey League is huge. I mean, it's the route I took. I mean, they do a wonderful job, and we're here to, prove ourselves. I chose the WHL because it's one of the best leagues in the world.
Bobdale Gloves out-of-town scoreboard. The Windsor Spitfires, the hosts of the 2017 MasterCard Memorial Cup, have company now as the St. John's Sea Dogs have won the QMJHL Championship, the President Cup, a 5-1 decision, sweeping the Blainville Boisbriand Armada. 5-1 the final tonight. The one goal for the Armada, that ended a 177-minute shutout streak. They haven't scored since game 1 of that series. And the Erie Otters, with former Kootenai head coach Chris Knobloch behind the bench. 5-2 win over Mississauga, so Erie is now a win away from the OHL title as they get past Mississauga 5-2. And WHL Chatters, a Beautiful Woman program, is a new initiative designed to recognize remarkable Bill and Moms. 6 Bill and Moms from across the WHL were recognized for their outstanding contributions. Visit WHL.ca to view their stories. Peter, Kevin, and Stu in the second period from the Pacific Northwest is on the way after the break.
Bob Dale Gloves WHL Central is brought to you by Bob Dale Gloves. Found online at bobdalegloves.com.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. But for many, just getting hold of a stick is the hardest part. That's why I'm a proud member of the Horatio Alger Association of Canada. Through generous scholarships, the association gives hard-working young Canadians who have faced great adversity a shot at a higher education. Beginning this year, our scholarships will be available to students in financial need in every corner of Canada. To learn more, visit horatioalger.ca.
AJ lives for hockey and has ever since he was a baby.
Because I get to skate fast and score goals.
AJ was born missing his left arm right at the elbow. The Warhamps provides a hockey device. It attaches to his passive arm.
You just slide the stick in and just play hockey with it.
Having the prosthetics gives AJ the opportunity to do anything anybody else can do. The Warhamps' support means everything to AJ, to other champs, and to their families.
Christmas Day, I'm gonna ask Steffi to marry me, and I'd really like your blessing. Yeah. No. Look, just give me a couple days to win you over. By Christmas morning, you're gonna be calling me son. I'm gonna be calling you dad.
Don't think that's gonna happen.
I think it's gonna, Dad.
I know it won't.
Dad, it will.
Stop that.
What, Dad?
That, stop that.
Dad, what are you talking about?
Yes, sir. Steph, you could be dating anyone. Why Laird?
He makes me really happy.
Leading in the game 3-1, trailing in the series 2-1. Kevin, you really liked a lot of the little details in their game, not to mention the late 3-goal surge.
I really did, and it was because it was necessary that Regina started on fire, and at times they had Seattle hemmed in the defensive zone, but away from the puck they were doing things like that, tracking to the south side of the puck and making it hard to get the puck to the net. How about the block shots? Reese Harsh should have a save percentage. He gets in the way so often. He hasn't got a point in the series, but so many other great details. And down low again, good work on the wall. And this is Regina putting pressure on down low. How about Liedel hounding the puck? He won't be denied, and he breaks it free for the game's first goal on the power play. That's Sam Steele releasing the shot, and then the top line reunited on the power play. Drops first of the series, his 5th of the postseason. That's his 4th power play of the postseason. And then miscommunication. Often when you're not in sync, you're going to pay for it. Moy Lennon certainly made the Pats pay there. That was the 2nd of the game. And then how about Enter? Look at him back off. He finds time and space. And then Volkin, his first point in the last 8 games, good net front presence. That was 3 goals in under 4 minutes. 3-1 is where we stand starting the second.
Officially 3:22, and you see the two that were 19 seconds apart. And Seattle with a 2-goal advantage. Steve Konowalchuk's team wants to tie this affair. Game 5, same time, same place, but a day off in between. They won't make them play 3-3. A chance for Wagner, still looking for his first point of the series as he shoots it out of play.
Levitt Machinery's WHL on Shaw has been brought to you by Levitt Machinery. Online at levittmachinery.com.
No points in the series, no goals, obviously. 14 in the postseason. That leads his team in second all of the Western League. 3 of those are shorthanded, which is first among all the league. He had 5 shorthanded goals in the regular season, and he's third among all players in the postseason with a plus 14. He's getting things done, isn't he?
Should make one minor change. Game 5 here Friday night. Half an hour difference in time. We'll start a little bit later. 7:30 Pacific, 8:30 in Saskatchewan. And anywhere else in the Mountain Time Zone, which Saskatchewan, well, we don't need to explain that. They never change time. And I'm okay with that. I'm from there, and you never had to adjust your clock. It was pretty simple.
Keep it simple, right?
Absolutely. So am I, to be sure. Here comes Hensler into the zone, drops Volkin. Good block by Wagner.
Well, we talk about plus 14 and all the details and all the stats that support Wagner. And here's another key play at a key time. You're starting the second period, and you saw how Seattle ended the first. Well, they're coming, and they haven't taken a step off. Great shot on a 3-on-1. Wagner gets down in the leg. We know he's banged up. He isn't feeling good, but certainly hasn't shied away from sacrificing the body and doing all the little things it takes to win in the postseason.
Austin Wagner, 14 postseason goals. Looking for his first goal and point in this series. Hyman, tough shot, and Brown forced to make a quality stop. Matthew Barzal, points in 14 in a row now in the playoffs with a first period helper on the power play goal that tied it by Ryan Gropp. All intercepted. Barzal to the line, and Hyman. Hyman wrist shot. That hit Harrison in front. Barzal, Kolazar robbed by Brown. Excellent anticipation by the Winnipeg product.
No question about it. He doesn't have time to react there. He has to anticipate a good right leg kick save and puts the rebound into a safe area. And we'll take another look at it here as Seattle's got a great start going here to the second period. There's the shot on net, and you'll see that right leg kick out. Puts it to a safe area. Brown, how about his performance throughout the course of the playoffs? And we talked about him in the open. He's been spectacular when his team has needed him.
926 save percentage in the postseason, 925 in the series. When the night began, the first period takes a small little chunk out of that. But as was the case in Game 2 when they trailed 3-1 in the second period, Brown in a similar scenario as he's been a number of times this spring where he likely needs to shut the door for a while. Seattle's making it difficult early in this second frame. Hobbs, bump, Kolazar spinning. Harrison shovels it out of harm's way to Robbie Holmes for the on-rushing Connor Hobbs. Leads all defensemen in points in the playoffs and did so with 85 in the regular season. Sergei Zborowski, Kolazar tripped up, and there will be a Seattle power play.
And we talk about the specialty teams in Regina and how deadly they are on the power play. Seattle's not too bad themselves. They were third best in the regular season. In the series coming into tonight, 3 for 11, 27.3%. And we're going to see here it's Brian Lochner who gets his stick into the wheelhouse of Kolazar, who goes down. And we're not 3 minutes into the second period. Seattle with the power play.
John Paddock's team hoping to kill this off and maybe gain some momentum. Impressive face-off win by Steele off his forehand and was able to clear it down the ice where Liedel is driving Strand and Tishka bananas. Volkin off the Schneid with the goal that made it 3-1 in the last 31 seconds of the second period. This is the second unit. Moylan, Volkin, Enser, Tishka, and Strand. Enser to the middle, dishes, Moylan blocked in front, and Brown trying to freeze it.
Well, 1 for 2 on the power play tonight, and you can see that they're clicking with the extra man. Seattle is. They're entering the zone with speed. We saw the example with that top line and the Gropp goal in the first period, but I like, again, the detail of them moving the puck. Move it, shoot it. Move it, shoot it. And often the puck is going to end up at the net. It's exactly where you want it. And then you need bodies there. This is where Volkin got his first goal of the series and first in his last 8 games. I like the details on the power play here from the Thunderbirds.
Well, the last 6 or 7 minutes, it hasn't been hard to make the hometown fans clap their hands. Seattle, 3 goals in 3:22 in the dying moments of period number 1, and they've come out with a purpose and still with 1:17 to go in a penalty to Brian Lochner.
Talk about face-offs, and Regina was winning the face-off percentages by an overwhelming margin in the first 2 games. It was fairly evenly split last game, and you see Seattle winning an ozone face-off on the power play here.
Barzell to Ethan Bear for Ryan Gropp. Snapped his stick in half. There goes another 100 into the garbage. And that's not the rate if you or I are buying them.
That's right. That's about a third of what you pay.
You got that right. Here's Gropp. Great feed. What a stop off Kolizar by Brown. Best of the night, hands down.
What a pass, what a shot, what a save. That's the sequence again. It's the quick pass, the quick shot from Seattle. I'm convinced that they addressed that and they're making quick plays to the net. And how about Brown putting himself into the lane? He makes a desperate save and he gets the job done.
Maybe a game saver at 3-1. Steele intercepts. He's unable to clear the zone. Mahura will try. Kolizar waiting on the glass to the line. Nobody there. Oh, was that some kind of save off Keegan Kolizar, looking for his first goal of this championship affair. Kolizar hits the line, backhands it behind the net. Mahura with a little time takes a hit to make the play, and Steele finds Lochner out of the penalty box. So Regina, thanks to that great save by Brown, stays within 2, and now Lochner, toe drag into the corner, one-on-one, working, finds Buziak. Holmes taking at it, side of the net. Now Lochner. Lochner, wrist shot, Buziak providing some net front, and Stankowski makes the save.
Well, let's take another peek at this spectacular play. It was on both ends, well done. Barzell to Gropp, and how about this pass? That's a big league pass right onto the wicket of Kolizar. He gets everything on that and more, but you can see Brown there where he wasn't comfortable, he wasn't set, but he makes a desperation save. There was 5 hold there, and boy, he didn't squeeze that out by much, but a huge save. And like you said, Pete, I agree with you. Possible game saver, down by 2. You certainly don't want to go down by 3, and what a key play from Brown.
Excellent pass by Gropp, who scored a power play goal to tie it. Kolizar assisted on it, as did Barzell. Gropp down the stretch, 54 points in his last 29 games. Points in 27 of those 29. And he looks like his dynamic self in game number 4 of this series. Robbie Holmes just keeps on getting better, the Sherwood Park product. This line has really given John Paddock's team great minutes with the depth that they've lost and the injuries to Lecition and, of course, Brooks.
John Paddock talks about the minutes, and they're playing way more important minutes than they're used to. They've had to step up their role, and they've done such a great job.
Rare shift for Jeff DeWitt, the former Red Deer Rebel. Holmes collides with Hyman. Hyman can't play it past Buziak. And Hyman watched closely by Wagner. To center and Enser. And Enser has brought his A game to game 4. Has an assist. Wagner
brought his A game to all 51 playoff games he's ever played, and that guy never takes a shift off.
Well said. Here's Wagner. Bursts in, leaves it for Steele. Steele backhander, sharp angle, blocked by Bear. Leadall and Bear collide. Now it's Steele, pressured by Volkin. Pats change sides on the cycle, which can be very effective. Leadall, nice strength to find Steele, who has the Pats goal in front. And here's Volkin to lead the rush with Moylan, and they both have goals tonight. The return pass off the stick of Liam Scholler, but now Volkin, true, just missed. Strand kicked away by Brown. Henry in transition. Pats will change, so he's by himself, and Barzal behind his back. An outlet to Tishka. Hobbs steps up on Volkin in the neutral zone. Tishka off the glass and into row number 1.
Well, what does it look like to be a 200-foot hockey player? We see Volkin with his first goal of the series. Earlier in this sequence, he's 2 feet off of the goal line. The puck comes to the middle of the ice. His stick's on it, and boy, does he get his toes going north. And that led to this, opportunities 200 feet away from your goaltender. But when you defend that well and then you turn defense into offense, man, your coach can trust you in any scenario at any time on the ice.
Moylan and Volkin, along with Enser, have really had it going on in game number 4. One thing about this Pats team, they are so resilient. Slobozhin, a backhander off the skate to the open corner, and Strand to Kolazar with Barzal and Niles. The trailer, Tishka, he scores! Jared Tishka through the wickets, and it's 4-1.
Well, we'll get another look at this, and we'll see if Brown gets a good look at this. There's net front presence that he has to contend with, but Tishka stepping up. This is his second of the postseason. There it is, and Hobbs is taking away the sight lines from Brown. This would be considered one of the weaker goals for certain that Brown has allowed in the postseason, but a good job on the entry again. Quick puck movement. There's the shot. The attempt from Hobbs to block it. I think he takes away the sight lines from Brown, but he leaves his 5-hole exposed, and Tishka finds it. It's 4-1 here at 13:09 remaining in the second.
Jared Tishka from Langley, British Columbia, has his second of the playoffs, his first goal since Game 3 in Round 1 versus the Tri-City Americans. And the biggest lead for either team, 3 goals at 4-1. Drop with Wedman and True. True with it. Alexander True to the line, and Hyman stutter step, no lane, shovels it towards Groff. Groff protects it. The second round pick of the New York Rangers in 2015 to Matthew Wedman from Edmonton. Wedman spinning through the crease. Reese Harsh, his wrist shot, about 5 or 10 feet wide, and Zabrowski, the outlet, broken up by Wedman. Buziak hits Wedman again.
Certainly feel the confidence from the Seattle Thunderbirds. They're protecting the puck. They're playing more the style of game that we're used to seeing from them. They've got skill, but they've got weight to their game as well. And when they get the puck below the goal line, it's hard to take off.
Moylan scampers in with speed off the stick of Zabrowski wide of the target. Kevin, for the first 12, 13, 14 minutes of the first period, I thought Regina really looked like they were in command. And then the power play goal by Groff, the Moylan goal 19 seconds later, and it has been all the Western Conference champions ever since. Lead all. Finds Steele with Wagner as they crisscross. Steele's wrister off the stick of Bear. Steele in the corner, and he's really slow to get to his feet. Now Wagner robbed by Stankowski. Best chance of the second period for the Pats. Steele, good to see him back up and battling again. That would be a blow that I'm not sure Regina could get past, as Steele and Ottenbright exchanging unpleasantries.
Want an example of game face, you're going to get it from that guy, whether he's on the ice or off. This is a true competitor, and one guy you know that they can't afford to have injured in any way. He went down into that far corner, and he didn't get up quick, and you know if he doesn't get up fast, something ain't feeling right. You can see there why he would be frustrated as he gets knocked off balance in a dangerous situation. He goes headfirst into the boards. Not feeling great, but you know that he'll rebound if at all possible and come out and battle the way he always has.
The Western Hockey League Player of the Year. You can tell he's uncomfortable. Pats have been without the second leading scorer in the regular season, Adam Brooks, and his 130 points and more in the playoffs since a hellacious collision with Turner Ottenbright in Game 1. Barzal. His shot In the lane is Mahura, who has another postseason point tonight, in on the steal goal that opened the scoring in the first. Regina in the playoffs, when they score first, 9-0-1, but that's under scrutiny in this one, down 3. Kolazar, who has a pair of helpers for a multi-point effort. Barzell thought about sending it to Strand, and good defensive work by Mahura. Niles, shots on goal, 17-9 in favor of the leaders of this game. Niles protects it, intercepted by Slobosian for DeWitt. And now Riley Crane. A rare shift for Crane, who played for a national midget hockey championship with the Caribou Cougars in Prince George before joining the Pats. And Niles' shot looked like it might elude Brown, but he steers it out of play. Niles and the Thunderbirds in command, trying to tie this series at 2 on Shaw, Access, and this TV.
Before and after the game, Tony Roma's offers casual family dining. Tony Roma's, a family destination, legendary ribs, and famous for so much more.
Welcome to Select Fluid Power, home of our brand new state-of-the-art cylinder repair and hard chrome plating facility. With a fully equipped hydraulic cylinder repair shop, Select Fluid Power is your one-stop cylinder repair shop. Open 7 days a week, serving Western Canada.
Hi folks, Don Taylor here. Need a lift? At Levitt Machinery, they sell, rent, lease, and service machinery for your material handling needs. And they offer certified training. Stack it, reach it, lift it. Levitt.
With Pat's head coach John Paddock. And John, what do you need to see more of from your team right now?
I think just to get back to playing right. I thought we had a pretty good start till the penalty and the power play goal in the second period. We lost our urgency for some reason, or our drive, or simplicity.
Connor Hobbs hinted at it. Do you need to see a little bit more elevated play in your defensive zone as well?
Well, yeah, we've been a little too loose there, but when you only got 9 shots, I think we could do a better play in their zone too.
Thanks, John.
Yep.
Guys.
Well, you know, Paddock isn't satisfied with the effort that his team has come out with. They've got more to give, but give a lot of credit to the Seattle Thunderbirds. They rebounded for what I thought they were outplayed in the first 10 minutes in the first period. Regina was all over them. They weathered the storm. They got a big power play goal, and they haven't looked back since. And I guess that's what you get when you get your leading goal scorer on the board with his first of the series. Everybody elevates their game, and to me, rallied around a really good second half of the first period for Seattle.
I want to make a quick correction from a point I made. Regina is 9-0-1 when they lead after the second period. When they score the first goal, they're 10-4 in these playoffs. They did score first tonight, but Seattle with 4 unanswered. Hobbs backhands it high off the glass, glove down by Ethan Bear, who has another point. Boy, has he had a dynamite career. The 5th round pick of the Edmonton Oilers, the defenseman of the year. Steele double teamed. Hobbs at center and clears it in on Stankowski, who looked a little uncomfortable. That long shot. John Paddock wants more assertiveness from his group, and I couldn't agree with him more. I thought Regina was off, Kevin, to a fantastic start in the game, and not just because they scored first 12 plus minutes in.
Well, it wasn't because of that as much as it was where they had the puck, and it was below the hash marks. And we've seen examples throughout the course of this game tonight. They're looking to cycle. They've got a presence in the corner. They're looking to go east to west, and it's so hard to do when you change your point of attack below the hash marks. Regina's real good at it. Let's keep in mind, yeah, they're down by 3 goals here at the halfway point of this game, but they did score 353 regular season goals. That was first among all teams in the Western League, so it would be a mistake to count this team out.
A resilient group, as we mentioned earlier in the period, down 3-1 to Swift Current without Adam Brooks for the last 5 games of that series. Rallied to win in Game 7, then trailed 2-1 in the Eastern Conference Championship versus Lethbridge before reeling off 3 consecutive victories to win that series in 6.
And they trailed 3-0 in the first period in that Game 6 as well. More resiliency to come back from that and win it 7-4 in that game.
And we saw them come back from down 3-1 to record a very important Game 2 overtime victory by a count of 4-3, but give Seattle all kinds of credit. They have really played what I think is their most impressive hockey for about the last 13 minutes. Jared Tishka has their most recent goal at 6:51 from Kolazar and Austin Strand, his second of the playoffs. Sergei Zborowski, pressured by Donovan Niles, back out there with Kolazar and Barzal, and all his steam rolled. Still on his knees, soon to get up. Henry with Slobozhin and all. And this is icing.
You talk about key players and Gropp getting the big goal in his first of the series. But there's guys on the other side too where I really think Regina is going to have to lean on a little bit. Nick Henry, the 17-year-old for the Regina Pats, had 35 goals in the regular season. He was the Rookie of the Year in the Manitoba Junior Hockey League last year with the Portage La Prairie Terriers. He had 61 points in 50 games, Rookie of the Year in that league. And here's a guy that hasn't scored in this series, and he's a guy to me that can be a part of the solution as far as adding a whole lot of offense. He hasn't got to the potential that he's capable of yet here in the Western Hockey League final, but a guy that you know has the skill set to explode as well offensively at any time.
Well, you have to remember he's in his first year in the Western Hockey League, and this time of year can be a real learning experience at this level if you have not gone through it before. And he was really good early in the playoffs. He had 7 points in that series against Swift Current. Some pushing and shoving and some frustration is Harsh and Buziak into it, and they're not alone. Jonathan Smart with his glove in the face of Alexander True. And I think they'll straighten it all out, and I'm not even sure there will be a penalty.
Well, you got that energy line for Regina out, and a good job by them to inject some energy. You know you have to create spark somehow, some way. It can be with a timely goal, a big save. It can be with some physicality, a big finish check, and a hard-working shift. And to me, those are some of the things that Regina could rely on, is getting some hard minutes out of their depth line, make things uncomfortable Seattle, and try to open up some time and space to try to find a way to get back in this hockey game.
Braden Buziak with the goal and 5 points so far. Out there with Holmes, last night's winning goal getter in the 3-2 Regina triumph to put them ahead in this set, 2-1, but fighting an uphill battle here this evening. Game 5 slated for the ShoWare Center. Friday night, 7:30, not 7, 7:30 Pacific, 8:30 in Saskatchewan. In Alberta, 8:30 as well. And the same can be said about our friends in Manitoba.
Look at the job that Seattle has done getting pucks to the net. They've only limited Regina to 10 shots so far in this game. They've been doing a good job getting in lanes, blocking shots, and you look at the details in the series so far, block shots and hits have been relatively even, and we've seen a lot of things fairly even in this series, but the one detail in Game 3 was block shots by Seattle. 6 only compared to the 18 block shots of the Pats. I think that's something that they addressed and something they've gotten better at certainly tonight. And when you're in lanes making it hard for pucks to get through, only 10 shots for Regina tonight. I like the response and the adjustments Seattle's made in that regard.
By the way, Tommy time zone, I am not. It's 9:30 in Manitoba. See, when you're from Saskatchewan, you have an excuse with time zones. You grew up in a place where they never change. I'll get it straight eventually. Here's Henry. from Manitoba, as the Portage product bounces one in on Stankowski. Here's Stu Walter.
Yeah, thanks very much, Peter. You and Kevin have talked about it. Has Steve Konowalchuk asked his guys to increase the battle level? He said he wanted them to finish a few more checks, but stay disciplined as well. They have done that. In fact, they blocked more shots in that first period. They had more hits as well, so they have been digging a little deeper. Konowalchuk also telling us that they have a goal each game, 3 penalties or less. So they're staying under that tonight, just the 1 penalty so far. Good discipline, and they're wise to do that because whenever the Pats have been on the power play, they have been pretty successful.
Have they ever, Stu? 6 for 15. On the power play are the Pats in the series.
You look at round 3 against Lethbridge, they were 3 for 18 in that entire series. So they've certainly made adjustments and picked up their game in that regard. That goes to show you how important specialty teams are.
Shots on goal are 7-4 in favor of Seattle in this frame. They have the only goal, courtesy of Jarrett Tishka. Sammy Moylinen has his second of the series, and he'll flip it cross corner in. Enser wins the race. Moylinen wanted to wrap it around, but Chase Harrison made sure he couldn't direct it on target as Moylinen really leaned into Henry with his shoulder. Enser all over another loose puck. Look at this battle. That's what he does. Ottenbright to Bear. Fakes the shot. Kolizar back to Bear. Snapped it in 2. Back comes Sam Steele. 3-on-3 as they hit the line, and Ottenbright forced the offside.
Well, we see him tempers flare and intensity get ratcheted up in this game, and I'll tell you, if there was a penalty for scratching and clawing, Enser would be in the penalty box all night long. Watch him scratch and claw. He never gives up on a play here. Good, quick hands. Time and space doesn't seem to matter for this guy. He'll be down and out and still make great plays, and that's what he did there, where he bought time and space to keep the puck alive. And that second effort is so contagious. You need it in the postseason. You need it to win championships, and Enser brings it for his team.
Has an assist tonight. His first point of the series to Scott Enser, the co-captain, along with Matthew Barzal. 3 goals in 3:22 late in the first period, paving the way for this 4-1 lead is all. Stutter step, fanned on his shot. Wagner carries on. Austin Wagner centers it for Slobozhin, and somehow Slobozhin ended up sending it on goal.
Talk about Enser and all the things that he does, and he's able to work as hard as he does because of the commitment that he puts in the offseason. Number 8 for the Seattle Thunderbirds has a trainer. Chris Ciferno out of Colorado was actually Steve Konowalchuk's trainer when he played for the Colorado Avalanche as well. And you know the type of game that Konowalchuk played when he was in the league, and you can see how that's benefited Scott Enser as well.
Penalty upcoming, holding the stick, and it will be the Pats. Philip Ball on his way to the penalty box.
Well, off of an ozone face-off here, look to the middle of the circle there. To me, see all trying to get to the middle of the ice there, and he might have got the stick up. I'm not sure what the call was. I was looking elsewhere, but was holding the stick. Turns out it was holding the stick. That one eluded me and happened so quick. We'll take another look. As you can see, all bumps into Kolizar. There it is. Better look from our crew downstairs. He's hanging on the stick. He's going for a sled ride is what he's doing there, and there's the 2 minutes.
Great job, ladies and gentlemen. Tip scores! Alexander True on the power play, and it's 5-1.
Well, we hit him up in the open, and this is why. He's a guy that is so good around the net. 10 goals coming into tonight, make it 11, and that's his 7th that's his 7th power play goal of the postseason. Look at the hand-eye coordination. He doesn't stop it. He gets his stick onto it for the redirect man. ground with no chance. That thing travels about 25 feet in the last 10 and changes direction. Takes a dog leg left, and that's 5-1 for Seattle.
Ethan Bear slid it to him, and the young man from Copenhagen redirects it by Brown. And a 5-1 Seattle lead. In last year's league championship series, granted they were down 3-0 after 3 consecutive overtime losses to Brandon. They were dominant in Game 4 last year in a 6-2 win in which Alexander True had a 3-point game. He has his 11th of the playoffs just seconds ago. And Seattle in wanting for more. True's on his way to the penalty box. I think this will be an elbowing call against him as we wait for referee Pap to make the call. Not an elbow, but it is a rough.
Well, after a huge goal, we've seen how physical Alexander True has been. You can see him with puck possession looking to protect it. It's the reverse hit. It catches Buziak unaware, and they're going to call this an elbow. We'll see if it was. Looked to me like he had his wing tucked in as tight as you can possibly get it. Regardless of that, True will pay for it for 2 minutes, and you can say it's a key moment here for Regina. Their power play has been excellent. No time like the present for them to let it work for them to try to get back into a 4-goal deficit.
Not an elbow. They call it a rough. Might have been either. And Regina, who's given up 2 power play goals to Seattle here this evening, operate with a man advantage for the second time in the game. They opened the scoring. They scored first tonight on a power play goal by Sam Steele. And there's another penalty on the way. Now, who's it going to?
There's been a few penalties, I have to admit, where I haven't known who the guilty participant it is until they skate to the penalty box there. It looked to me like it could have gone either way on this one, but it's going to be Dawson Lidl. That'll be his 15th minor penalty in the postseason. That's more than anybody else in the postseason, but you can see the high stick as he's in the scrum, and it gets up high on Ethan Bear. And there's no question about this one. As he loses his balance, he gets Ethan Bear in the lips. We'll play 4-on-4.
John Paddock takes a look at the replay on the score clock here at the ShoWare Center. We know there's 2 numbers he's not very fond of. That power play lasted 9 seconds, and now we'll play 4-on-4 for the next 151, barring more infractions. Seattle 2 for 4 on the power play. Kolazar has a couple of points in the game, puts on the brakes, finds Bear, he has 2 as well. Feeds it into the corner, and Barzell from Coquitlam, British Columbia. Matthew Barzell, good strength, nice recovery by Hobbs. And here's Mahura with some room. Mahura drive, and Stankowski looking around, but he has it.
Well, Stankowski hasn't been overly busy tonight. That's his 14th shot on net. Nice job by Mahura, the smooth skating third rounder to the Anaheim Ducks. Shot on net, and that's the Stankowski that we're used to seeing as he gets the initial save but sponges up the rebound. And here's that replay of Barzell. He's got a tarp draped over him as he's got the puck down low, and he lands on his backside. Didn't look too comfortable as he went straight to the bench.
Enter another puck battle with Groff. Groff fails to accept it, and here comes the pass in transition, 3-on-2. Harrison, Lochner, and Holmes feathered in front by Lochner and held by Carl Stankowski.
Did Enzer take off right there? Boy, does this guy have wheels. Off of the face-off, he starts on time every shift. Look at him there, quick stick, and watch him go right there. Shot out of a cannon, and he is gone on a 2-on-1. Makes a backhand pass. It just is off the target for Ryan Gropp, who you do not want to have the puck on his stick. And then look at the transition. This is what we've seen all series, hasn't it? And that's what's made this series so entertaining. 2 high-skilled teams that work extremely hard, going back and forth.
Stankowski has only faced 14 shots tonight. If I was selecting 3 stars in this game, the gentleman we're featuring on our screen would be right near the top of the list. He's really led the way.
Something about someone's eyes, isn't it? You look into the eyes of a person and it tells a lot about them. They say eyes are a window to the soul. Well, you can tell how much soul this guy has. He is all competitive.
Eyes are the window to the soul. I must remember that.
Poetic, isn't it?
Yes. You've had all the gems in this series. Zabrowski for Wagner. I can't even get time zone straight. And this guy's taking things out of books. Enser with Ottenbright joining him, but he turns back away from pressure. Behind his back, Tishka went through Brown, but out the other side as Tishka nearly with a multi-goal game. Here comes Sam Steele. Steele versus Tishka. Wagner collects it, hits Bear, and out of play it goes with 3:33 remaining in period 2.
Well, we can show you Enzer killing a penalty by himself for 30 seconds. We can show you him winning battles off the wall. I thought this was Barzal. We can show some skill too. Look at him stop up there in the little spinorama. You sure that's not 13 on the back of that jersey? He puts it right onto the wheelhouse of Tishka. Again, he's got will, he's got skill, he's a determined individual, and he leads in so many different ways.
Kolazar may have redirected that puck that went off Brown and stayed out. All of Seattle's top players have their mitts on this game. Barzal, Bear, who has 2 assists, gets it back, stays with it. Remember, playing with an injured left hand. Bear still has it, and he rifled it. Brown may have got a piece. All Seattle here in this game 4. Good stick by Liedall. And the 9-second Seattle power play expires. Those still count. They're 2 for 5. The Pats are 1 for 2. Smart to All, who chips it in. Tishka away from All, who says, I need a change. True has a goal tonight, his 11th of the playoffs, and here's Holmes. Holmes with some room. He lopes into the zone. Holmes now turns back. Robbie Holmes to Josh Mahura, who has points in his last 3 games. Shot blocked. Zabrowski, another shot blocked. Zabrowski blocked again. Regina pounces on the loose puck. This is one of their best shifts of this second frame.
What a great job by Seattle. We talked about them in the first block and shot after shot. Again here, 2 in succession on this shift alone.
Moylan away from DeWitt, and Tishka with time to operate as he finds True to Moylan. Moylan backhander, and Brown forces a stoppage.
I'll tell you, it's amazing to me how one game can be so different from another. And we've seen Brown and how he was spectacular last night. He's let a couple in tonight I think he'd like to have back. You can't hang this on him. But also the block shots or the lack thereof from Seattle last night. We talked about it, only 6 tonight. Man, they have gotten in the way a majority of the times.
They had 3 on that shift.
Yeah.
Tyler Brown has really come into his own. I would expect there's a very good chance that he will be one of 3 Regina 20-year-olds next season in their Memorial Cup hosting year. The 100th MasterCard Memorial Cup will be staged at the Brandt Center. I bet they're sold out already. Hockey-crazed Regina. Barzal! My goodness! Niles! Back to Barzal, behind his back strand had fallen. Ottenbright whistled it as he spun around. Blocked, scores! Keegan Kolazar has his first of the series, and it is 6-1.
Well, they are smelling blood, aren't they? And you knew that Seattle had the depth and they had the skill to explode, and they've done that here tonight. And it all starts with Matthew Barzell. This guy is an absolute ninja with the puck. You can see him getting the Ginsu knives going here. Look at him putting it between the legs. That's magic. Are you kidding me? Shot on net, puck retrieval. Niles, who's been injected onto that top line, and this is what leads to the goal. The shot, there's a block, and then how about Kolasar pouncing on that for his first of the series, and it was a community effort again in that offensive zone to get Seattle their 6th of the night.
10th of the playoffs, his 3rd point. Keegan Kolazar. And Seattle, after what has just been such a hard-fought first 3 games, have the mojo going tonight. Enser with Gropp in front. Enser hangs onto it. Scott Enser plays it to an open wing, and Wagner high off the glass and out for Riley Crane. We'll probably see more of Regina's depth players the rest of the way. Strand is 2nd assist of the night, and Niles with his first point of the game on Keegan Kolazar's 10th of the playoffs, 1st of the series. Volkin scored a big goal late in the first with 31 seconds left in it to make it 3-1. That one hard not to think about the way this game has moved on, and a big hit as they all rise. About 4,800 of them tonight in this 6,000 seat facility. Delighted with the performance of the Thunderbirds.
Well, to put an exclamation mark on a 6-1 lead after 2, Reese Harsh hits 2 of the pads off of the puck. Good physicality by him, but the good news tonight for me, and the storyline for tonight, is guys that haven't been involved offensively are getting involved. Kolasar gets his first of the series, Volkin his first of the series, and on you go. Enser has chipped in with an assist, and of course Gropp. We've been waiting for him. He gets a big goal as well on the power play.
3 late in the first, 3 more in the second, and Seattle 20 minutes away from tying this series at 2. And a big reason why they've been successful tonight is with Stu Walters.
Yes, thanks very much, Pete. With Thunderbirds forward Scott Enser. And Scott, how pleased with your team's effort through 40 minutes, scoring 6 unanswered goals after going down early?
I mean, it's a big character start here. At the same time, you know, we got 20 more minutes. We got to finish this thing off. They're a good team, and we can't sit back for a second.
Did you guys know you needed to bring a little bit more of a battle level tonight than you didn't see maybe in Game 3? Have you delivered that for Steve Konowalchuk?
Yeah, I mean, everyone in the room had a better game than the last 2. If we're losing games, we're not doing the right things, and I feel like tonight it's been a really good start, like I said. But, you know, at the same time, it's a long series, and we're going to try and wear them down as much as we can.
How easy is it to feed off of this boisterous crowd?
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, Seattle's been just excellent this playoffs and helping us. And, you know, the start is huge, and I think the crowd helps us a lot with that.
Special teams playing a huge key in this series so far. How have you liked your team's discipline, especially tonight?
It's a lot better. It's a lot better. I mean, it's been one of the key points we've had throughout the playoffs, and we're still trying to get better on it. And, you know, we want to continue to have no penalties and have a good power play.
The guys in the booth were raving about this last night, basically killing a penalty by yourself, 30 seconds last night, so effective. I don't want to say by yourself, team effort, but you know what I mean, and the fans responding. How nice is that to feel, to be infectious for your teammates and to hear that from the fans?
Oh, it's awesome. It gives you a little goosebumps and shivers down your spine when you're on the ice, but you know, at the same time, I felt like I was just fighting the puck a bit, and it's nice to get a little boost.
One final one for you. Where does your work ethic, never quit attitude come from?
My dad and my mom. They never quit, and they still don't quit. They're growing. I wouldn't say they're old, but they just don't quit, and it's an Enser thing.
There you go, man. Pretty proud of that, and you're wearing the C tonight. Well done. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
There you go, guys. Scott Enser playing his 51st WHL playoff game tonight. We've got the second period intermission coming up. Andy Neal, Joey Kenward will be with you. Game 4 of the WHL Championship Series.
And he can lift anything. Anything at all. He's that strong.
Joe Schuster, will you stop it or you'll miss your train? Now help me find number 5.
strong, but by day he's a mild-mannered reporter. Glasses, you know, a secret identity.
Honestly, you Canadian kids.
He'd be in this cape.
A what?
A cape, wearing these blue tights.
A hero in tights, really. Here it is.
Listen, Lois, this guy is faster than anything, I swear.
If you're not fast, you're gonna miss your train.
That's it. A bullet. A bullet. He's faster. No, he's faster than a speeding bullet.
Come on, get on it. No one's gonna read a comic strip about a strong man in tights, Joe. It'll never fly.
Fly, no. But he can leap over tall buildings. Oh, wow, yeah.
See what your cousin Frank says in Toronto.
Wait, Lois. I've got something for you. Take it. It's a gift. You never know. It might be worth something someday. Is he great or what? Bye-bye, Lois.
Christmas Day, I'm gonna ask Steffi to marry me, and I'd really like your blessing. Yeah. No. Look, just give me a couple days to win you over. By Christmas morning, you're gonna be calling me son. I'm gonna be calling you dad.
Don't think that's gonna happen.
I think it's gonna, Dad.
I know it won't.
Dad, it will.
Stop that.
What, Dad?
That, stop that.
Dad, what are you talking about?
Yes, sir,
Steph, you could be dating anyone. Why Laird?
He makes me really happy.
Bob Dale Gloves WHL Central is brought to you by Bob Dale Gloves. Found online at bobdalegloves.com.
Well, the fans here at the ShoWare Center enjoying this one. Regina had a 1-0 lead in the first period, but 6 unanswered goals for Seattle. 3 in the first, 3 more in the second period, and a 6-1 lead here in Game 4. Welcome back to Bob Dale Gloves WHL Central alongside Joey Kenward. Big players for Seattle coming through tonight. Keegan Kolazar's got 3 points, and Ryan Gropp's got his first goal in a few games.
4 players for the Thunderbirds through 40 minutes of play have multi-point performances. 11 different Seattle skaters have already hit the score sheet, and you know that Ryan Gropp wanted to bring his game to another level here in game number 4, and he does just that on a very key power play goal that proved to be the equalizer back in the first period at the 16:06 mark. It got the fans into it, and then he's able to help contribute with an assist here in the second period of play on Jared Tishka's goal. That was the 5th of the night at the point for Seattle. They've got a 5-goal cushion now on the Pats going into this second intermission, and we were talking about it off air today with our broadcast team that if Seattle was going to get back into this series, they needed their most offensive-minded players to be thinking offense first, and they've done that through 2 periods so far tonight.
And Jared Tishka gets one tonight. Strong game on the back end.
Jared Tishka is one of the key players that NHL scouts are watching ever so closely here in this WHL final. The Langley, BC native has cashed in with his first goal of this series. We just saw it moments ago. It's his second goal of these WHL playoffs for a player that had 7 goals over the course of the regular season. He's expected by many to be a 2nd to 3rd round NHL draft pick, and this kind of night certainly has his stock rising as the draft is a little over a month away in Chicago, Illinois. And again, when you can have players, whether you've got the leader playing catch-up hockey, when you can have players deep down your roster that don't normally find the back of the net do just that, it gets everybody on that team fired up, and Tishka's been able to help out in the goal-scoring department so far here at the ShoWare Center this evening.
We touched at the start of the show about the power plays. Regina coming through with 4 between games 2 and 3. They scored right off the bat tonight, but Seattle isn't giving them many opportunities this evening.
No, and the Pats have only had 2 power plays to this point in the game. The Seattle Thunderbirds, and it was tough to keep track because the power players were coming and the goals were coming fast and furious, but special teams now through 3 games and 40 minutes of this WHL final are turning into a big talking point for both Regina and Seattle, as these 2 teams, and the breakdown head-to-head for these 2 clubs when it comes to power play and penalty kill has been very, very important for both Regina and Seattle. Now, as far as these are the up-to-date stats as we speak going into game number 3, Regina's now got 21 power group play goals in the playoffs. Seattle's got 24 into round number 4. And in this series alone, Regina, and those are indeed up-to-date numbers at the bottom of this graphic, 6 for 16 the Pats are in this series. Seattle is 5 for 17. But take a look at those totals when you look at PIMs per game. Seattle is averaging roughly 1 minor penalty per game less, or Regina's averaging 1 minor penalty less than Seattle going to this game. And I think that was probably a talking point inside the locker room from Coach Steve Konowalchuk and the rest of his staff entering game number 4. Discipline is always a factor in the playoffs. And Regina in this series prior to tonight has used the power play to be very effective and get them into this opportunity to take a 3-1 series lead. But the tables have turned definitely through 2 periods tonight here. Seattle's cashed in twice on the power play and have done a very good job of staying out of the box.
In 5 opportunities as well. Well, it was a week ago today, the WHL Awards ceremony. We have some award winners in this contest here, but one of the big ones was the Humanitarian Award. And for the 2nd consecutive year, Tyler Wong of the Lethbridge Hurricanes, who left such a big imprint in Lethbridge in his 5 years with the Hurricanes, had a chance to catch up to him last week in Calgary. Well, Tyler, the season ended for you on the Sunday, the Game 6. You've had a few days to process what went down. What are you thinking now that it's over?
Just a whirlwind and just a flood of emotions to finally let it sink in that, you know, my career in Lethbridge is done, and I'm not a junior hockey player anymore. So it's pretty crazy to think about, and it's a little overwhelming, but, you know, I got a great family to go home to kind of think about my options for the future.
This team, the Hurricanes team, so many injuries in the playoffs, and people thought that Medicine Hat was rolling. Yeah, you take them out in 7. You came back from 3-1 down against Red Deer and almost took Regina to 7. But what about the run itself, and how are you going to look back on it and what the team went through?
The only emotion I can honestly feel about the run and the team and everything about it was just amazing pride and gratitude for the run that we did have. You know, obviously, you never, when you don't win the championship, you obviously think back and think, oh, what if, and about the last series. But, you know, just that feeling of winning that Game 7 against Red Deer and then winning in Game 7 against Med Hat, those are 2 of the best feelings I've ever had in my hockey career. So, you know, just the character we had in Lethbridge with all the guys that stepped up when we had injuries to battle back from a 3-1 deficit is very, very hard to do. And it just goes to show the amount of character that we did have, and just the great teammates that we had there, just great people. Set aside hockey, you know, just good people that cared about each other, had each other's backs, that worked so incredibly hard to make the run that we did. And, you know, against Med Hat, you know, we had 6 regulars out of the lineup. It's to be able to beat a really good Medicine Hat hockey team, just guys just were playing with all their hearts, and it just, you know, I'll look back with a lot of pride and a lot of just an honor to be part of that organization, that team this year.
We couldn't get over the amount that your line with Giorgio Estefan and Yegor Babenko were playing in that 2nd round series against Medicine Hat. How much did you have in the gas tank in that 3rd round against Regina when you faced them in Game 6?
I'd be lying if I said I was playing at full energy and 100%, but, you know, I'm not going to make excuses and say we were burnt out or anything. I think that Regina is a very good hockey team. They were #1 in Canada all season long. They set records all year long. They have 230-point scores. I think that's enough said there. And, you know, they played well. I thought we did very well in the first few games there. I thought if we could have won Game 4 or even Game 2 in overtime, you know, those were 2 momentum-turning games where they found ways to win and we didn't. And you know, a couple bounces here and there. You know, maybe you know, a puck goes in off a post, or, you know, it's just little things here and there. You know, but, you know, obviously they were meant to win, and kudos to them for having a great run as well, and for you know, they're a great hockey team, and you know, there's a point in playoffs where you got to beat the best team, and you know, we came up against the best team, and you know, we fell a little bit short, but you know, we gave it our all. Obviously, I would have liked to have had a little bit better of a series myself, but you know, I played with all my heart and I tried my best, and you know, that's all you can do.
What's next for you?
Just moving home to Cochrane today and get back to you know, the chores at home and just get back to normal life at home. But you know, I'll get home and make a decision with my family for my future, and you know, just hopefully a little bit of a closure, and looking forward to the future.
You had a tryout with the Toronto Marlies last year. How much are you looking at pro? How much do you want to be able to get back to that point?
Yeah, pro is definitely what's in store for me as of right now. So that's what hopefully the future holds for me. And you know, I've always dreamed of playing in the NHL one day, and that's still my goal, and that's what I'm looking forward to. So I'm going to make a choice that will get me there, and that's what I'm going to do.
You know, you went through the full swing, lean years in Lethbridge, and then 2 wins away from winning the Eastern Conference Championship. How special was it to be a part of what turned around in Lethbridge and to see that franchise and the fans in the stands in the 3rd round?
You know, it's now looking back on it, it feels amazing. You know, during it all, during my 17, 18-year-old year, I was just playing hockey. I was just doing what I do and just enjoying my time there. And you know, now that I became a 19 and 20-year-old, one of the older guys, the captain for the last 2 years, it kind of sank in that, you know, what I've been through, turning the team around with me and Giorgio and Stuart Skinner and all the guys that stuck it out, that through the lean years and through a lot of hard times, a lot of losses, and a lot of turnover in the front office with players. You know, I was just thinking about the one year where we had almost 50 guys that played the game on our team. So it was a crazy couple of years there, but you know, it's just incredible, just thankfulness and gratitude for the opportunity I had there to be able to become part of that community and to become a leader on that team. It's an amazing organization. Obviously, you know, there was a lot of doubts in Lethbridge, you know, about possibly the team moving, the ownership, and just a lot of doubts. And I think we've proved a lot of the doubters wrong, and that's it's kind of been the story of my career, is proving doubters wrong. And you know, I'm proud to say that I stuck it out, and you know, that's just the way I was raised, to not be a quitter. And you know, all the guys that I think that stuck it out, you know, they're being rewarded with things for sticking it out. And I think that you know, tough times don't last, and tough people do. And I think that I take pride in the fact that, you know, I did stay through and stay the ship, and was able to be a little bit part of that solution.
Tyler, congratulations on a great season, great Western League career, and all the best wherever hockey takes you.
Thank you very much.
A real gentleman, no doubt. We expect nothing less than the best for Tyler Wong. 3rd period on the way from Kent after the break.
Bob Dale Gloves WHL Central is brought to you by Bob Dale Gloves. Found online at bobdalegloves.com.
Hi folks, it's me, Don Taylor, way up here with my friend Murph. At Levitt Machinery, they sell, lease, rent, and service all these machines, and they offer certified training. Need a lift? Stack it, reach it, lift it. Levitt.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. But for many, just getting hold of a stick is the hardest part. That's why I'm a proud member of the Horatio Alger Association of Canada. Through generous scholarships, the association gives hard-working young Canadians who have faced great adversity a shot at a higher education. Beginning this year, our scholarships will be available to students in financial need in every corner of Canada. To learn more, visit horatioalger.ca.
Seattle Thunderbirds are 20 minutes away from tying this best-of-7 league championship series at 2 games apiece. And Kevin, after the late surge that allowed them to take a 3-1 lead into the dressing room, they did not take their feet off the gas pedals in period 2.
Feet, plural, because they were both on
it.
I agree with you completely, and it started with Strand with his 2nd assist of the night. Kolasar feeds Tiska. He gets his 1st goal of the series, 2nd of the postseason. That makes it 4-1 for Seattle, and then an ozone faceoff. Watch 16 White here as he gets to a soft area. How about the hand-eye coordination? That's his 11th of the postseason, 6 goals in his past 6, and he has great awareness, doesn't stop but redirects it into the dangerous area. 5-1 for Seattle, and they didn't stop defensively either. How about the stick-on puck? We've seen this from Ottenbright, a little bit of love from Steele with graphite to the cheeks there for Ottenbright, but block shots again. They blocked 14 of them tonight after blocking 6 in all 3 periods. Last night, they put pucks to dangerous areas. Kolasar jumped to an area, gets his first of the postseason first of the series and 10th of the postseason. And you know things aren't going good when you whiff on the frustration clear as well, as Tyler Brown has seen better night. 6-1 here entering the third, and you know it's going to take something next to magic for Regina to claw themselves back into this.
We will see a new goaltender for the Regina Pats for the first time in the playoffs. Tyler Brown will not tend the twine in period number 3. Jordan Hollett will get the call. He's rated for the upcoming National Hockey League draft. His last game came in the Pats' regular season finale against the Brandon Wheat Kings. He turned aside all 34 shots that he faced in a 6-0 Regina triumph. And a big goaltender at 6'5". He turned 18 on the 31st of March.
13th overall pick in 2014 for the Pats.
A product of Langley, British Columbia. So Tyler Brown, who we will see for absolute sure when this series resumes Friday night, 7:30 in this time zone for game number 5. Game number 4 still with 19:35 left. Tishka has a goal. Barzell with an assist. Drops it for Tishka. Finds Donovan Niles. Niles protects it. Drops it for Aaron Hyman. Down low for Barzell, and the first touch is one off the end boards for Holland.
Levitt Machinery is a proud sponsor of WHL on Shaw. Need a lift? Stack it. Reach it. Lift it. Levitt.
And not a surprise to see Brown on the bench, and this isn't something you hang completely on your goaltender. In part, he didn't get the support in front of him, and how about a quality 40 minutes from the Seattle Thunderbirds. And to me, the mindset for the Pats moving forward through this period is not necessarily that you're writing off the chance to come back and win. Anything can be possible, but they want to focus on details in their shifts, build something to gain momentum off of, and they can build off of moving into Game 5.
Hollett, by the way, played 19 games during the course of the regular season. Here's Riley Crane. Crane with Lochner and Buziak. Through. Dropped, unable to clear it, but Strand, who has a pair of assists, does not allow the Pats to keep it in before Crane redirects it deep. Stankowski to Strand, and now Reese Harsh. And Buziak has a look at Strand as he was knocked to the ice. Ryan Gropp has a couple of points in the game. He tied the game with a key power play goal in the first period.
Well, you mentioned, Pete, in 19 games through the regular season, Jordan Hollett went 15-2-2. He played his minor hockey, AAA midget, he was in the Okanagan Hockey Academy in Kelowna, former teammate of Jonathan Smart as they're reunited here in Regina. You mentioned it earlier, 6'4". He's the prototypical NHL goaltender, isn't he? He's got the frame for it. What a great record he had through the course of the regular season.
Rated number 15 amongst North American goaltenders by NHL Central. Liam Scholler, a wrist shot that goes wide on the short side. Smart pinching down against Moynihan, who scored 19 seconds after Gropp had tied it late in the first to make it 2-1, and it's really been all Seattle ever since. Jonathan Smart.
Pardon me, Pete. Great shift by Robbie Holmes. You saw him in the offensive zone with a good play and a great body check as he worked his way back 200 feet to play good defense in his own zone.
First shift for Shel Shemhus. We've seen him at times during the last 2 rounds. Has not played a whole lot. A guy named Shel Shemhus you wouldn't necessarily think is from Alberta, but he is. Sounds like he might be from Gävle, Sweden, or somewhere along those lines.
Would you mind spelling his first and last name for me, please?
Not right at this particular second. I've had enough trouble with time zones, let alone foreign names. Although, how could a guy named Lubardius have trouble with anyone's name?
Lubo, make it easy. Keep it simple, right?
Zabrovsky on the topic of syllables and hard to spell names for Philip All. Dances into the zone. All dumped to the ice by Strand. Strand takes a hit, a couple of them in fact from Slobozhin. Regina would just like to have a much better third period to build on. As Gropp outlets for Kolizar, who's led the way with a goal and 2 assists.
The one thing you do not want if you're Regina is Gropp takes the puck to the net. If you're Regina, you don't want that feeling of being dominated when you leave this game. You want to build off of some positives through the third period, like you said, Pete, for sure.
Lochner lets it go, looking for his first goal of the series. Broken stick prevents Hobbs from letting a shot go, and here comes Tyler Adams. Good check by Harrison. Well done. As Lochner at the end of a shift gets to center and flips it in. Hobbs trying to keep it in. Now he is involved with Ottenbright and True as we head to ice level, and Stu Walters.
Thanks very much, Pete. Yeah, just following up on our second period intermission interview with Scott Enser there, a great kid obviously, and today Steve Konowalchuk saying that he's just a buzzsaw, basically the heartbeat of our team. He's a guy that has an infectious identity and that he wants his other players to follow, and they certainly do. He does set the tempo for his team, and he does also say that he's a quiet guy that leads by example, but that second and third effort, I'll use it again, is infectious, and he does not mind when that rubs off on the rest of the team.
Somebody in a Seattle Thunderbirds jersey has played more playoff games. 51st game in the playoffs tonight. He's got an assist. That's 32 points in his career. He's got experience, and who better to lead your team than the hardest working guy?
Tishka enters the zone, and he whistles one. Amazing sometimes, Kevin, how even for a defenseman, when you score a goal, how confidence can really grow. Tishka's almost looked like a different player since he found the back of the net in the second period.
Well, he's a guy that has dealt with some injuries. He only played 54 regular season games. He had 25 points, and I think that he's in a phase about trying to identify exactly who he is. Is he a puck guy? Is he a defender? Is he both? And you're right, I think that one goal for him could do nothing but make him more confident.
He's an excellent skater. That might be his best asset. Niles with Wedman, and a rare shift for Zach Andrusiak. So we'll see more of the team's depth players with a 6-1 score. Shot attempt by Niles, blocked in front, and Shemhus clears it to the neutral zone. DeWitt had some words with Wedman on the way to the bench. Shemhus lost his edge, fell to the ice. Nick Henry pursued by Moylinden. And Strand gloves down a bouncing puck at center for Scott Enser. Enser, a wrist shot, nice glove save by Jordan Holland.
Well, the playoff experience led by Scott Enser right there. He's in his 51st game here tonight, and you look at the number of years that the core of this team has been to the postseason. Most of them, this is their 4th consecutive year here with the Seattle Thunderbirds. Enser leads the way. Bear with 47 goals, all the way down. Ottenbright with 41. Has he ever developed in his time here in Seattle? And you look at guys like Tishka as well. Huge experience. Wedman last year with 18 goals en route to the WHL Championship. So perhaps we're seeing some of that experience pay off tonight. Down 2-1 in the series. At home, perhaps pressure on, but they haven't showed any pressure tonight as they came back from an early push from the Regina Pats in the first 10 minutes of the first, and it's been all Seattle since.
Slobozhin in front, just failed to make the connection with Henry, and now it's Niles who nearly springs Barzell, who has 62 points in his 47 career playoff games with an assist tonight. Seattle in its 40th year of existence, hoping to win their first ever title, is all in difficulty as he makes his way to the bench. He just dropped his stick and takes a seat. That was interesting. Strand takes his time, and he has plenty of it, with a 5-goal lead. Mahura stepped up, but Kolazar finds True. Has his 11th of the playoffs tonight. True leaves it. Good defensive work by Harrison.
That's not the first or the last time that you'll say that with Harrison. Earlier, a couple of shifts ago, you saw the way he plays the body more than he plays the puck. Plus 50 in the regular season. He's showing some of the details why.
Came into tonight at plus 13 in the playoffs. True deflects it in. Hobbs reverses, finds Lochner on the right wing boards. To Riley Crane. Buziak. He'll slide it to the far corner for DeWitt off the bench. Against Ethan Bear, who has 2 points in this game, a couple of assists. And now he is up to being tied with Connor Hobbs for the lead amongst defensemen.
John Paddock with the Regina Pats, and he's the executive and the coach of the year. But how about the job that Russ Farwell has done in constructing this team with the Seattle Thunderbirds? Some of the acquisitions that he made this year. Austin Strand for Brendan Schuldhaus. That was great value. Strand is 5th in scoring among D-men in the postseason. Aaron Hyman from Calgary for a 3rd-round pick. He's a big piece on their back end. And Tyler Adams, he's got a couple of points in this series as well, and he's been a big body for them, who's improved immensely for Mackenzie White. And Moilanen in the CHL import draft, 52nd overall. How about Donovan Niles and the value they get for that 8th-round pick? I'd say that's paying off.
Is it ever? Moilanen versus All, who's back out there after looking uncomfortable in his last shift when he went to the bench without his stick. Answer to Volkin on the board in the series, and as his first ever point in 2 championship series years. Moilanen, a backhander, read nicely by Hollett. That will help his confidence in his first ever Western Hockey League playoff appearance.
I can tell you one thing, it's hard enough to pick up a pass on your forehand in full flight, but how about Moilanen right there on the backhand? Not only does he receive the pass and control it, but he releases a quality shot. Looked to me like he was trying to expose the 5-hole, and Hollett comes up with his biggest save of this 3rd period in his first appearance in the postseason.
Of 2017, saw a little time in last year's playoffs, but it's his first kick at the cat, if you will, in this year's playoffs. And has made a couple of good saves since replacing Tyler Brown. Drop to Adams for True. Back to Strand. His shot. That didn't miss the mark by a whole lot. And out it goes to center. As Harsh leaned into Lochner, knocked his glove off, and he'll have to retrieve that. Adams shoots it in.
Harsh, not an easy individual to play against. We saw him block 3 shots in the first period alone in 1 shift, and a guy that hasn't got a point in the postseason, but who cares? When he brings the other things and other details into the game, trusted in every situation, especially in key moments of the game defensively.
Hadn't seen a lot of them before this series, but I've been quite impressed.
Yeah, me too. 8th rounder in 2014 from Grand Prairie.
Turned 18 in January, so plenty of time left in the league. Guess who just won another puck battle?
I'll take that, please, and thank you.
Answer to the front of the net, closed off by Sergei Zabrovsky. Now it's Hyman. Hyman down low for Wedman. Wedman protects it. Might have had an opportunity to move out in front. A centering pass, gobbled up and cleared by DeWitt. 11 minutes to go in the 3rd, and we've got penalties.
It'll be Zach Andrusiak going off with Josh Mahura as they were jousting with each other, fencing as the sticks were flying. That might be Andrusiak's first shift of the night, number 20 for the Seattle Thunderbirds. Takes off a key defender for the Regina Pats, and Josh Mahura. Andrusiak in 60 regular season games had 11 points. He's got 3 points, a goal and 2 assists in 15 postseason games coming into tonight. How about Enzer? This guy is just vicious with his effort. He'll sting you with it. so many examples, even when they're up 6-1, it doesn't matter for this guy. It's just full tilt until that door slams at the bench when he goes off.
Trying to catch his breath. Drew an assist on the Volkin goal with 31 seconds left in the first period that made it 3-1. It was arguably the biggest goal of the night in some ways. Moynihan, who gave Seattle the lead to stay at 2-1, in deep on this 4-on-4 situation. Tishka moving in, can walk into the dot, shot blocked by Hobbs for Slobosian. And Druziak in the penalty box, along with Mahura, and a save made by Stankowski.
Well, there's still a lot of time left in this third period, over 10 minutes, and it'll be key for both teams. And you know that Regina's going to make a statement. They're down, they've been embarrassed. A 5-goal deficit in the third, they're going to want to get physical, but there's a slippery slope and a fine line you walk. You don't want to be taking injuries, you don't want to be taking suspensions and send a message, but you have to do it wisely.
Well, the Clappers are out, and they've been busy the last couple of nights, especially this evening.
Dave, are you including yourself in there? You've been clapping your hands just as much
only
as
for the only for the music. Don't take me down
That's
the road.
a good point.
I don't need to go. Strand behind the net. Watched by Buziak. I have enjoyed the tunes here, though. I will say that.
Well, you've had some nice moves too.
Not very many.
Texas two-step in.
No, we don't need to go there. I went there last night, and I won't repeat it. About my dancing ability, it is 0.
It's okay to enjoy the games. I don't think anybody enjoys games more than you, buddy.
Well, thank you. I do enjoy them immensely, and very fortunate and blessed to be able to do it. Buziak backhands it in. Seattle 3 late in the first in a span of 3:22, and then added 3 more in period number 2. Ethan Bear with a couple of assists as he has 6 points in this series. Lochner took a peek to see if he had some separation versus Harsh. Slams on the brakes. Volkin breaks it up. Been a lot of that tonight. Well, Seattle was in a different situation this spring. They'd never trailed in a series before tonight. Henry whistles one high on Stankowski. And Niles to center before he shoots it in.
How about that shot from Nick Henry? 35 goals regular season. He shows why right there. He sent that puck.
And he'll score plenty more before his Western Hockey League career is over. Just 17. Be a big part of the Pats Memorial Cup hosting team next year. And you know, the Pats aren't worried about that. They want to make their way to Windsor. That is the destination starting May 19th for the winner of the Ed Chenoweth Cup.
Nick Henry had a verbal agreement to the Western Michigan University where Andy Murray coaches, the former St. Louis Blue and LA King head coach. And after John Paddock recruited and talked to Nick Henry, Henry made his decision based on the fact that Paddock simply turns guys into pros.
I bet you don't have to guess who just drew that penalty. Answer. 8. Yes, 8 is right. He's been great.
Tony Romas, serving its signature ribs for 40 years. With an expanded menu including steaks, chicken, and seafood, Tony Romas is a family dining destination. Tony Romas, legendary for ribs, famous for so much more.
Hey.
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 Hey. Hey, hey, hey.
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 Hey, looks like you have time. Take a 2-minute test and find out your risk of getting type 2 diabetes.
Hi folks, it's me, Don Taylor, way up here with my friend Murph. At Levitt Machinery, they sell, lease, rent, and service all these machines, and they offer certified training. Need a lift? Stack it, reach it, lift it. Levitt.
Well, with an explosive start to the game, Regina finds themselves on the board with a power play goal from Sam Steele, but it was this power play goal that really changed the face of this game. Grob gets his first of the series, and then from there it's been Seattle ever since. Moilenin gets his second of the series, and I'll tell you, the pressure put on by Seattle, they moved the puck around in the offensive zone so quickly, and they always had net front presence. There's Volkin's first in 8 games, his first in the series, and on we go. Tisha gets his first of the series, and at this point it looks to me like Thunderbirds are having fun. Look at the redirect there, as True has tons of time and space. No check near him for the redirect, and then Kolasar again gets his 10th of the playoffs, first of the series. Some key guys for Seattle getting on the scoreboard, and there you see Philip all in the box. I believe it was a hook, but I'll tell you, when you get efforts like this from Scott Enzer, you just don't give up. Sometimes the only thing you can do is jump on their back, and that's what all does, is he gets 2 minutes for holding. And how about Enzer? Up 5. And he hasn't taken his feet off the gas one bit.
Not interested. 6th power play of the game for Seattle, and that's been a key to this 6-1 advantage. They have 2 of those goals on the power play. Barzal snaps it. Looked like it hit Kolazar in front. Strand through the seam. Barzal. They've talked about Barzal shooting it way more on the power play, because that total has been upped considerably from the first 3 games. Tishka, that's blocked and goes to the end boards as Barzal chops it back and knocks his man down. Tishka to Austin Strand. A multi-point game for him tonight. Tishka, Barzal one more time. Seattle controls it. There's another donation to the Broken Stick Fund, and it's cleared out of the zone.
Well, after good pressure, Kolasar is going to take a penalty here on Hobbs. Those two get under each other's skin, and that's the battle within the battle, one of the many that we've seen in this series. And it's interesting, and I agree with you, Pete. We've seen Barzal shoot the puck so many more times than we have in the past. On your right side there, you're going to see that little left leg sneak in behind of Hobbs, and the big man Kolasar sends him to the sheet, and he'll get his 15th minor of the postseason.
So 55 seconds for 4-on-4 hockey as Steve Konowalchuk and his group in command in Game 4. 7:04 away from tying this best-of-7 championship series at 2. Game 5 here Friday night at the ShoWare Center as the puck makes its way into the Regina bench. Matter of fact, that puck wasn't far away from you, Stu.
Yeah, a little bobbing and weaving over here, Peter. And yeah, you know, Game 4, a little bit of a lopsided scoreline, obviously, so a little bit of frustration down here at ice level and a lot of chirping back and forth. Donovan Niles telling a certain member of the Pats that he should have stuck to baseball. It's interesting down here, to say the least. And Konowalchuk just coming down to the end of the bench to tell Scott Enzer, just keep your cool. Keep your cool. Don't let anything get out of control here. So we'll see how it goes the final 6 minutes here.
I love the chirping within the game. He's talking about Robbie Holmes, who is as good a basket or baseball player as a hockey player. But boy, oh boy, I can tell you, I can remember in my days, net front on the power play, the whistle would go, teams on the other benches would be like, get a rest. Who are you kidding? It's a power play. Take a seat. The chirping, love it.
You weren't involved in any of that, were you?
You mean power plays?
No, I mean chirping. Hyman tipped in front. Good stop by Hollett. Replace Brown for the 3rd period. Hyman just unable to keep it in. We have not seen very much of Regina's top players. Sam Steele, he took a pretty solid jolt in that 2nd period. But this is a scenario, especially without Adam Brooks, you wouldn't be taking any chances with Sam Steele if he was a little shaken. I believe I do see him on the bench. There he is.
Pardon me, Pete, 6:16 remaining in a 5-goal hockey game. the third period, and it's not that Paddock is sending a message of giving up, but he's going to rest his guys. It's unlikely that they're going to get their way back into this, and he's given some of their depth guys, Shale Sheamus, Riley Crane, Jeff DeWitt, a few extra shifts here and there.
6 minutes left in game 4. Well, barring a miraculous comeback, this series is on its way back to the Queen City of Regina. So will they sell out game 6 in what, about 1 minute? The way things have gone in Patland all season and especially in the playoffs, it's been incredible.
You might not be exaggerating. It took 2 to sell out game number 1 and 5 minutes to sell out game number 2.
I guess the question is, will the Pats return home with a chance to win a title, or will they be down? We have to wait a while for those answers. Seattle wants to win its first ever Western Hockey League title in their 40th year. This is their 3rd ever appearance in the league final. 2nd consecutive. They lost in 5 games last spring to the champion Brandon Wheat Kings. As Niles intercepts, Kolizar out of the box. Kolizar will have a chance, and Hollett stopped him. As Kolizar looking for his 2nd of the night and 4th point of the evening.
Well, you can see the beach ball eyes from Hollett as he sees Kolizar, perfect timing, coming out of the penalty box, and he steps onto it. He doesn't have much time or space to make a play, but on the forehand going 5-0, Hollett seals that quickly. He's looking poke check at first. Kolizar tries to slip it 5-0, but a couple key saves. I don't know if they're key saves, but a couple big saves for Hollett here in the 3rd period.
Stopped all 6 that he's faced. That one of his best, if not the best. Lochner, Crane. Buziak for the Pats. It's the 16-year-old Crane. 4,652 in attendance after 6,187, a sellout crowd in game number 3 last night, and boy, was this joint jumping. They've had their fun tonight, the people who have shown, and we hope for bigger numbers on Friday. Wedman engineers his way in, using his frame, backhands it, Hollett the save off Matthew Wedman. And Robbie Holmes takes over. Stick check by Anthony Bishop, I believe his first shift of the game, with Zach Andrusiak. Twisting and turning, we've seen a lot of those two in the morning on game days when we've made our way to the respective arenas. Answer, pivots, controls, Strand, tipped, just over top of the net by Andrusiak. And a Regina penalty upcoming. Harsh, Strand, good kick save, rebound. Volkin, who was crunched, robbed by Holland, who's looked very calm in his first appearance of the spring. And now, is that Robbie Holmes after Andrusiak? Yes, it is.
Andrusiak with his 2nd shift of the night. A good shift by those guys from the Seattle Thunderbirds. Andrusiak down low on that Enzor line, and Robbie Holmes looking to send a message. Big strong body and more Barzell-like moves from Enzor. We've seen everything from him, and a couple times tonight I've had to do a double take with the move that he's made, but you can see the hit from behind. Volkin goes kissing the dasher here. What a look this is. As he goes in from behind, it's Robbie Holmes that sends him, and that's the infraction, that's the penalty.
As we take a look at the 4,652 strong, we're told that they're already at the 5,000 mark for Friday night, and I don't think this result will hurt sales over the next couple of days.
Well, it's been an exciting team to watch, particularly that second half of the season. We've talked about their record at the beginning of the first half and the second half. At home, 27-8, 0-1 in the regular season. They've certainly given their fans something to cheer about here in the ShoWare Center this year.
Holmes the penalty, And a 7th Seattle power play by my count. Harsh with some rare power play time. Backhanded down the ice. Seattle, in case you're just joining us, trailed Regina 1-0 in the first before they exploded for 3 unanswered in the last 4 minutes of the frame. 3 goals came 3 minutes and 22 seconds apart. The first 2 goals were separated by 19 seconds.
Dangerous group.
A real dangerous group, and have been tonight, but the resilient Pats, you can bet they'll be able to shelve this one and come back with their best on Friday. Sometimes, Kevin, I can't help but think that these might be easier to put behind you than those miserable 1-goal losses.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's easier to flush because you know that it isn't the best that you can play, not even close for that matter, from the Regina Pats, and it's one you don't even address a lot of the times the next day. The coaching staff flush it, maybe a couple little details, and you move on.
And yet for the first 12, 13 minutes, you could make a pretty strong argument that they played some excellent hockey.
Well, they were the better team on the ice in the first half of the first period. There's no question. And if they do draw clips from tonight's game, it'll be in that window.
Hyman moves up, his backhander goes through the crease as we're under 2 minutes to go. Strand's shot attempt is blocked by Crane. What experience for some of the younger players. Boy, that'll bode well for the Pats when you think about the fact they'll play in late May in next year's Memorial Cup, which they'll host, the 100th edition of it, and what a place for it with all their tradition.
Josh Mahura, who participated in the Memorial Cup last year in Red Deer, is hoping that he's going to be in 3 consecutive Memorial Cups.
Now that is not a regular occurrence. A few members of the early 90s Kamloops teams found themselves in 3 of them, but not even that group with 3 consecutive appearances. When you think back to the Kamloops championship teams of 92, 94, and 95.
Quite the dynasty they've had there in that town, isn't it?
My goodness, for that stretch where they went to the Final Four of the league for 14 consecutive years. The New Westminster Bruins in the 70s won 4 consecutive Western Hockey League titles and capped them with back-to-back Memorial Cups in 77 and 78. Portland with a great run of going to 4 straight league finals. Edmonton right there with them in this decade, which has supplied so much fun. And I think the fun in this series, and we've had lots of it, is yet to come, because it's 35 seconds away from becoming a best of 3. And I won't be the least bit surprised if a Game 7 on Monday is required.
Well, in our conversations leading into this series and leading into every individual game, you look at some of the details in either one of the teams, and we try to play genie and our own opinions as to who's going to do what. And boy, oh boy, that's to me what makes this series so exciting. You just can't tell. 2 good teams that can explode at any given time, and we've seen both of that from both teams at different times in this series.
Yeah, and in this booth, there's no Barbara Eden. For those of you who are not millennials and might remember the old TV show, I Dream of Jeannie. And she frankly wasn't that hard to dream about. These teams are dreaming of a Western Hockey League title. And Seattle, for the first time in 3 Western Hockey League Championship Series appearances, have won 2 games. They were swept by Lethbridge back in 1997 in 4 straight. and then last year won only the one game, Game 4, in a 5-game setback at the hands of the Brandon Wheat Kings. So penalties to Zabrowski and Adams in the dying seconds. The Seattle Thunderbirds, 3 in the first, 3 more in the second, on their way to a Game 4 triumph, setting the stage for what I have a feeling will be a sensational series tiebreaker here on Friday.
2 power play goals on the night. They needed to get that going for themselves, and that was a huge injection of energy into this club. We're under 10 seconds away from having this series tied at 2.
7:30 in the Pacific time zone. Make that 8:30. 7:30 in the Mountain. I've got no chance tonight. 7:30 in Saskatchewan. That would be 9:30 in Manitoba. And I'm done with times, which comes at the end of time in this game. Seattle wins it by a count of 6-1. And the Ed Chenault Cup Championship Series is even at 2 games apiece.
Well, what a pushback performance from the Seattle Thunderbirds. It was a pressure situation. You knew it was not a must-win, but as close to one as you can get. They didn't want to go down 3-1 in the series with back-to-back losses at home. The big news, Kolasar enters the series with a goal. Volkin with his first goal of the series and first point in his last 8, and Gropp. He's got 5 goals now in the playoffs. He's got his first of the series. They've got their depth going. They've got their big guns going, and that's what can happen when you get that talented group all on the same page. Big 6-1 victory in Game 4.
6 different goal getters for the Thunderbirds. In this game, really, all you have to do is go back in many ways to a 3-minute and 22-second span where Carl Stankowski and the Seattle Thunderbirds scored 3 times late in the first on their way to a 6-1 win. This series is even at 2. Our post-game show when we return on Shaw, Access, and this TV.
Before and after the game, Tony Roma's offers casual family dining. Tony Roma's, a family destination, legendary ribs, and famous for so much more.
With the scholarship program that WHL produces for us players is huge, and it helps us just kind of not worry about the money aspect of it, but just focus on the school and your hockey, and makes it a lot easier on a student for sure.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, but for many, just getting hold of a stick is the hardest part. That's why I'm a proud member of the Horatio Alger Association of Canada. Through generous scholarships, the association gives hard-working young Canadians who have faced great adversity a shot at a higher education. Beginning this year, our scholarships will be available to students in financial need in every corner of Canada. To learn more, visit horatioalger.ca.
Hey, Mr. Ricky.
Boys, I want you to meet someone. Outstanding athlete, a former 2nd lieutenant in the United States Army, and your new second baseman, Jackie Robinson.
Hi, gentlemen.
Et maintenant battant les Royaux, and now batting for the Royals, le deuxième but, the second baseman, Jackie Robinson. Quatrième manche, 4th inning.
Record numbers of cheering Montrealers helped Jackie Robinson break baseball's color bar that year. He never forgot the city that launched his journey to baseball's Hall of Fame.
Well, the Seattle Thunderbirds have evened up this best-of-7 WHL Championship Series with 6 unanswered goals in a romp. Let's send things down to Stu Walters. Stu?
Yeah, thank you very much, Andy, with Ryan Gropp. He scored the equalizing goal to make it 1-1 way back in the first period there. His 5th goal of the postseason. He is our first star tonight. And Ryan, what can you say about your team's response after the Game 3 loss and after actually going down early in this one, 1-0 as well?
It was huge, yeah. Obviously last night was a pretty emotional game. Losing another 1-goal game. I thought we really responded well coming out of the gate fast and stuck with it all game and really pounded their defense down low, and I thought we worked well tonight. It was good.
Did Steve Konowalchuk ask you guys to dig a little deeper for a little bit more battle level?
Yeah, absolutely. No, he's a pretty demanding guy, and I thought we all responded well tonight. We all found that extra gear, played a little more physical, and I think we really had a good game tonight.
How key was it to be aggressive but also be disciplined at the same line, find that fine line, which kind of hurt you a little bit last night in the special teams affair where the Pats have been clicking on the power play?
It's huge. Obviously, they got a real good power play over there, and I think that was one of our main keys coming in for the series, to stay out of the box and limit their chances on there. And I thought we were real good at that tonight, and paid off.
Ryan, this is a loud, boisterous crowd. How much fun do you guys have playing here, and how much do you feed off of their energy?
It's huge. We love it. No, obviously, last night was sold out. Tonight, not as much, but they're still as loud. So I think, we love that as players, and it really helps us get going.
Your first goal of the series, 5th overall in the playoffs. How nice does it feel to contribute?
It's huge. Yeah, obviously, you want to get on the board, obviously, and help your team, win the game. I think for me, I'm a guy that likes to, score goals. I think for me, it really helps the confidence, and I think helped me really well tonight.
Ryan, what are you doing when you're at your best?
I think for me, I'm moving my feet, competing on pucks, winning those one-on-one battles, being physical, and just, being a good 200-foot player.
You started with Tyler Adams and Alex True, who you finished with last night. Do you feel you're building some chemistry with them, and you understand why you're with them?
Absolutely. No, I think just spread it out a little bit. I think we had a really good game tonight, and True's been great all series long. Same with Ads, he's been great. So I think we worked real well tonight.
How much confidence does this win give you guys, especially heading into Game 5, your last one on home ice?
It's huge, yeah. Obviously, to get one back here at home is awesome, and then we got one more on Friday night. So I think we're looking to hopefully win that one and head back to Regina.
All right, Ryan. Thanks for your time tonight. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There you go, Ryan Gropp, our first star tonight. Andy, let's head up to you.
All right, thanks very much, Stu. Congrats to Ryan on the goal and an assist. He's the #1 star on the Tony Roma's 3 stars. Keegan Kolazar, a big effort this evening. He's up to 10 in the playoffs with his goal, added a pair of helpers, and 2 assists tonight from Ethan Bear as the Seattle Thunderbirds in a big victory tonight. And they hold Regina to under 20 shots as well, so an easy evening for Carl Stankowski. Series tied at 2 in the WHL Championship here at Shaw, accessing this TV.
Christmas Day, I'm gonna ask Steffi to marry me, and I'd really like your blessing. Yeah. No. Look, just give me a couple days to win you over. By Christmas morning, you're gonna be calling me son. I'm gonna be calling you dad.
Don't think that's gonna happen.
I think it's gonna, Dad.
I know it won't.
Dad, it will.
Stop that.
What, Dad?
That, stop that.
Dad, what are you talking about?
Yes, sir.
Steph, you could be dating anyone. Why Laird?
He makes me really happy.
The War Amps has really helped me be confident and comfortable with my amputation. I honestly haven't found a single thing that I can't do.
Attending the CHAMP seminars, I've had a lot of great experiences. I've made new friends. I've learned a lot.
Being with all the kids, it's so good to know that there's other people that can help you through everything. The War Amps has given me a chance now to play guitar. I have a special swimming arm.
Without the War Amps, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Hi folks, it's me, Don Taylor, way up here with my friend Murph. At Levitt Machinery, they sell, lease, rent, and service all these machines, and they offer certified training. Need a lift? Stack it, reach it, lift it. Levitt.
Tony Roma's, serving its signature ribs for 40 years. With an expanded menu including steaks, chicken, and seafood, Tony Roma's is a family dining destination. Tony Roma's, legendary for ribs, famous for so much more.
Well, we know the WHL Championship Series will wrap up in Regina. We just don't know Sunday night in Game 6 who will have the first chance to win the series. We'll know that after Friday night's Game 5. That starts at 7:30 Pacific Time, 8:30 Mountain. And the series now tied at 2. Back at Bobdale Gloves, WHL Central. Kevin Sawyer's joined us along with Joey Kenward. We talked a little bit in this series about such close games maybe we'll see a blowout. Will we see one? And we saw it tonight. What did you think of Seattle's response, Kevin, after being down 1-0? And you guys touched on the first 10 minutes of that first period. Regina looked like the better team.
Regina started really good in Game 3. In the first 10 minutes, the game was theirs, and it was no different tonight. I thought Regina started, led by Sam Steele. That first opening faceoff, they win the faceoff, and they've got the puck below the hash marks, and they really did start on fire. And credit to Seattle, because they weathered the storm and they pushed back. But honestly, if there was a team that was going to break out at the seams offensively, I thought it would be Seattle, just because of the fact that they haven't had everybody going. And when we saw guys like Ryan Gropp get on the scoreboard, Kolasar hadn't had a goal in the series, Volkin hadn't had a point in his last 8. We talked about that throughout the course of the broadcast. All those guys touched the score sheet, and they're a pretty dangerous team when they get their depth scoring from top to bottom.
It's not the first time in these Western Hockey League playoffs that the T-Birds have scored in bunches. They did it tonight. Obviously, those 3 quick goals in succession late in period 1 really turned the tide in their favor, and then into period 2 they were able to pop in a few more. They also, you'll recall, in game number 2 scored 3 goals in under a minute. Even though they didn't win that hockey game, they showed that they can turn a game on a dime. They also had a couple of games both at home and on the road in the Western Conference finale against the Kelowna Rockets, where they scored on back-to-back shifts. So this is something that a lot of fans in these parts have not been startled at whatsoever. They were the better team through the final 40 minutes of play, but they're a hockey team that I don't think will be very happy with their start. Yeah, they're happy to be back on level terms, but if you're Steve Connor-Walchuk, you're not just throwing bouquets all around that locker room tonight. And if you're Regina, you want to put that one in the rearview mirror as quickly as possible.
And Kevin, we touched about making sure you don't feel dominated. You talked about that early on in the third period. What does Regina do? Joey, you mentioned putting it in the rearview mirror. A 6-1 final tonight, and is that easier to put away than maybe the tough losses earlier?
It is. I mean, absolutely. Nobody ever wants to get blown out by 5 goals, but it does make it easier to come to the rink the next day, and I think everybody will know that they're just going to flush it. You can't really teach much from a game where you don't do very many things well, and you got to stay high, and there's such a quick turnaround that there's no time to sag and to let your emotions drop. So they'll flush this one. They'll take a couple of little details probably out of the start from the first 10 minutes of that game, and they'll move on. And that's just what you have to do to rebound from your faults, is to get back on the horse and look at the positives. That's what they'll do. This is a team that led the league in the regular season, 52 wins, 112 points. They know how to be resilient, and they're a resilient group. We've seen it in the past, down 3-1 at Swift Current in that second round, and yeah, they'll flush it for sure and come back rejuvenated.
They had 16 combined goals in their previous 3 road games in these playoffs. Like, this is not something that is a rarity that they got spanked on the road in the postseason. John Paddock has seen a lot of hockey in his day, has worked with this group who has faced some adversity throughout the course of the year and also in these playoffs. So I know he'll have his team ready for battle here, and what makes just such an interesting remaining set of games here. We started as a best of 7, it turns into a best of 5, and now it's a best of 3 with a 7:30 puck drop here Friday night.
Regina held to 19 shots, first time in the playoffs. They've been under 20. How full value is Seattle for keeping Regina at bay offensively tonight?
Yeah, absolutely, as you mentioned. Give credit to Regina getting that opening goal from Sam Steele, and that obviously took the crowd out of it, but Regina just couldn't get their legs going after those 3 quick goals late into period number 1, and 12 shots on goal in the first period, 12 shots on goal in the second, and another 12 more in the third period for the Thunderbirds. That's a pretty solid home game here, trying to respond, and although it wasn't officially a must-win situation, it's not a game 7 yet, and they weren't facing elimination, still a pretty good performance.
All right, let's hear from the Regina Pats and through the 6-1 loss tonight here in game 4.
Left, you have Dawson Lee. Middle, head coach, general manager John Paddock, and on your right, you have Sam Steele. John, obviously not the result you were looking for tonight, but I guess what did you see out there tonight, and what's the message to the group looking ahead to Friday?
Well, I haven't given any message to the group. I thought we had a pretty good start playing there, and actually at one point the shots were 7-7, and we got whatever that would make, like about 12 after that. So we didn't keep playing, and you know, they had their game going.
John, is this a game with a day to prepare for the next one? Are there some teachable moments for you, or do you burn this video?
No, I think there's lots of things to show. There always is in a game. There's no perfect games. So, yeah, we'll have some things to point out for sure.
Where did it kind of come unraveled for you tonight, do you think?
I don't know. After the weak holding call on Schuler, then they scored the power play goal, and we just seemed to stop for whatever reason. I don't know.
Sam, how easy or how difficult will it be to put this behind you and move on to the next one?
Well, it's not the first adversity we've faced this playoffs, so I don't think there's any momentum in playoffs, so we'll come with a fresh start on Friday, and we're gonna bring our best game.
You guys haven't had many results like that this year. Are you surprised by it, given the way this series has gone? You obviously don't suspect that. It's not the game that we wanted. We knew it was a big game and we didn't come to play, but like I said, I don't think there's any momentum in playoffs, so I don't expect anything like that next game.
Hey Sam, no matter the result, is it just nice to have 2 days off at this time of the year anyway, just to rest up?
Yeah, schedule is obviously tough to this point, so it'll be good to get some rest and get the body ready and the mind and come ready to play.
John, you said that your team hasn't really ridden an emotional roller coaster this year, very even keeled. Do you think this one will just be very easy to shelve?
Yeah, it's not very nice when you read in the paper online that you lost 6-1, but the result is the same as 2-1. And, just as they got the game out of their head last night of losing, we will deal with it, whatever we decide to do, talk the team with it, and then, it's a new game. It's the same if you win 6-1 or not, and I think that that's a strength of our team. We won a lot of games this year. We won a lot of games handily, and we were ready to play the next night. It's the opposite of this, but we got guys like these two guys, and lots of other players have been through things. Like we'll have a game face on and a game action on Friday.
Dawson, special teams has been a factor throughout this series. What went wrong in that department for you guys tonight?
I just think we didn't block enough shots, as many as we needed to. Put as much pressure on them as we needed to.
Thanks, guys.
Head coach John Paddock, Dawson Leadall, and Sam Steele joining him. And if ever there was a team that took on the personality of their head coach, it would be the Pats. Very little emotion, not too high, not too low. And I'm guessing that that's going to be one of the keys, Joey, going into Game 5.
Absolutely. Now, our executive producer and lead statistician, Grant Wilkins, has just provided us with his end-of-game stats. And you heard Leadall saying they would have liked to have blocked more shots. Well, Grant had the block shot total dead even between these two teams, 14 apiece. The hit count was 41-41, so those two teams were even in that department, where the big discrepancy tonight, and you would imagine this when it's a 6-1 scoreline, was the amount of scoring chances created. Kevin, it was 25-6 unofficially, if you will, and I know some teams and other statisticians will look at scoring chances differently than others, but that right away tells you that one team had a whole lot more opportunities to find the back of the net, and in Seattle's case, they took full advantage.
The one thing that I noticed earlier in this hockey game tonight, when Seattle started generating some opportunities, it was an adjustment, because I thought that we see Matthew Barzal with the puck. He slows the game down and he's excellent at it, but I thought he took less time to make his decisions, and I thought that his team followed. When they moved the puck and made two crisp passes, often, no matter what team you're playing against, you're going to find a lane to the net, and often it results in a scoring opportunity. I thought they made a lot more snappy plays in the offensive zone. They moved the puck around really well, and that resulted in a lot more scoring opportunities. That's probably one of the big details that led to that lopsided scoring chances for Seattle.
Kevin, I know Seattle wanted to get on Regina's defense too, put the puck in deep, get it on the defense. Was that one of the big keys tonight?
Well, I thought I saw both teams trying to get the puck and win the game below the hash marks, but when you have a guy like Enzor who leads with his forecheck, Volkin has been relentless with his effort all playoffs as well. Yeah, that was a big factor. Where they get the puck deep, they want to make those D turn. And that's what every team says all the time. Make their D turn. It's a cliche, but it's true because it's so hard to play when you have to turn, go back, get the puck, and feel that pressure of the forecheck coming on you. I thought Seattle was excellent in moving the puck like I talked to earlier, but at times too putting the game on the wall and winning majority of their battles.
You mentioned, Andy, that Regina seemed to be following the lead of their coach. Not too high, not too low, long 3 potential games ahead here. I think if you're Seattle, maybe a frustrating couple of games to start the playoffs in this final round series for them. Obviously a big time result on the scoreboard. I'm interested to see if they still have that and would have that park it mentality. Yeah, it's a big win. Yeah, 11 players hit the score sheet, 4 had multi-point performances. I think they put this one in the rearview mirror as well.
All right, Seattle Thunderbirds are ready to talk about, and I'm sure in a good mood about it, 6-1 win tonight.
What did you see out there, and what was the difference tonight as opposed to the last couple games?
I think our guys, you could tell they're ready to play at the start there. Pretty good start. Then they get the power play goal, but our guys didn't. Our guys didn't let up. I thought Enzer's line really stepped up, and that tenacious game and had some good momentum shifts for us and played a lot against Still, and but I thought just guys were sticking to the game plan.
Keegan, you haven't really been able to get going in this series up until tonight, but best game of the series so far. What was working for you out there?
Just going more to the net, playing a heavier game and taking pucks in the net. Tonight, really thought our line showed up more than other nights, and that's why we had some success.
And Ryan, you were playing on the third line tonight for the entire game, but you also got your first goal of the series. I mean, you had some success early in the playoffs with True.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel comfortable there. They're 2 good players there, Truzy adds, and Wed sometimes was out there too. So I thought we're working well and working hard, and it was a good game.
And Steve, your guys' second goal, Moilinen's forecheck, forced that turnover behind the net, unassisted goal. It seemed like that really energized the bench and the team a lot.
Well, it's a good rebound. Again, they scored a first goal, and to be able to get a couple quick ones like that, and Sammy, good forecheck. He had a strong game, good forecheck game, and it's good to see him get rewarded.
And Steve, last night you guys generated a lot of chances and then just couldn't either execute or there were saves made. Was there some momentum there that carried over into tonight?
Well, I think every game's a little bit different. Again, you want to generate as many chances as you can get. I thought we hit the net a little bit more today. I thought early a couple we missed, but then we started hitting the net a little bit. Again, we want to just concentrate getting as many pucks to the net, no different than any team. Get as many pucks and many bodies you can get there.
And you mentioned Enzer's line. I know for most of the game early on, maybe before it got out of hand, you had him up against Steele's line a lot. What did you like about that matchup or how they performed?
Well, I think it just depends on the flow. Again, I'll look for certain matchups at times, but we have three lines that we feel that can play against them if we need to. I mean, obviously if I put Truzy and Gropp against them, they can go against them as well, or Barzell. I mean, we're confident they can all play defensive hockey. I think just Scotty is one of the better defensive players in the league, and we got the lead there. First part still was going against Barzell. We got the lead, and so I maybe stuck to that a little bit more.
And Keegan and both Keegan and Ryan, they scored that first goal. It would have been easy to hang your heads, but you guys bounced back and scored 3 big ones. How big was that response in the first?
Yeah, it's huge. We were just telling ourselves there's a lot of hockey left. I think it was like the first 5 minutes of the game, so we had a lot of time to bounce back from that.
And same question.
Absolutely, yeah. No, a lot of hockey left. It was early in the game, and obviously you can't get discouraged like that. We need to keep pushing, and I thought we stuck to our game plan the entire game.
And Steve, you talked about how well the forwards played defensively, but it felt like this game Stankowski was maybe had it a little bit easier, wasn't tested as much. So what can you say about your defense and their performance as well?
I think it was good solid team defense for sure from the forwards. The defenseman played solid. I thought Tiska had a strong game. The guy that doesn't always get talked about, but really winning a lot of battles and getting pucks out. Hyman, I thought stepped up his game a little bit. So again, there's a lot of guys when you get a win in playoffs this far, everybody has to play well, and to get one like that, I thought everybody really stepped up their game.
Steve, question for you. To what extent, if at all, do you feel like maybe this game was almost a carryover from the last one? Although the result wasn't there, you had the chances. Did you kind of carry it on and maybe just bear down a little bit?
Well, you try to stick with your game plan. You know, we don't necessarily always want to play to the scoreboard. You try to stick to your game plan. I thought our third period was fairly solid. We didn't end up tying the game the day before, but we did have some chances, and I thought it was fairly solid. It was good to see that you know, some of our guys were forechecking and continuing to play that same way.
What does a result like this tonight mean for you going forward into 5?
It means it's 2-2, and we're going to get some sleep and eat and get ready for next game.
Are you surprised at all, given the close nature of this series, the way this game went tonight?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's tight. It's a good hockey team over there, and they're all tight games. And you know, I guess you never know in any kind of game how the puck's going to bounce at times. But you know, I think, you know, we got a couple quick goals there that spread the gap a little bit. But we know it'll be tough next game.
Steve, how pleased are you with your team in terms of a response? I think you asked for a bit of a higher battle level while also staying disciplined, but maybe doing the things that aren't as fun, maybe blocking shots and 41 hits tonight. How much did you need that?
Well, again, if you don't get today or you're not done yet, it takes 4, but 2-2 is certainly nice, and I think our guys sense the urgency and played with a little bit more urgency than the game before. And you know, I think it's real important, though, and that our guys understand that it's going to have to continue.
Keegan, did you feel that on the bench as well, that everyone was digging a little bit deeper, maybe doing some of the finer habits better?
Yeah, that's a pivotal game in the series. You don't want to be down 3-1 in the series, of course, and now that we've tied it up 2-2, we're just looking towards the next one.
Anything to 2 days off at this time of year, Steve? Does it help ice some bruises or anything like that? Will you take it?
Well, I'll get a little bit of time, and mentally recharge.
And Ryan, obviously the series is far from over, but Friday night's going to be your last game here in front of these fans. Have you thought about that, or how special that'll be, or what that's going to mean to you?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, you know, it's still just another game for me. I think we really want to focus on that, and you know, it's obviously my last game. I want to, you know, have a good game, so looking forward to it.
And Keegan, probably your last game here as well. Have you thought about that at all?
No, not at all.
Steve, urgency, aggression, that was really powerful tonight, and you got a solid win. Are you going to use this, and how, to build momentum through the rest of the playoffs?
Well, we'll look at what we liked that we did. You know, with you know, the puck. I mean, the game boils down to who has the puck more. We'll look at what we did with the puck and try to continue to be strong there. And I know someone asked about the battles earlier. I think we were pretty strong on some of the battles that helped us get the puck, and you know, we'll build on that and again, just correct some mistakes and build on what we did well and get ready for next game.
Thanks, guys. So head coach Steve Konowalchuk with Keegan Kolazar and Ryan Grupp, 2 big games from those players, top players for Seattle. Kolazar with 3 points and Ryan Grupp with 2. Joey, what's your take on what Seattle had to think about their win tonight?
Well, obviously a huge sigh of relief for a lot of those players. Probably Grupp the most. Hadn't scored yet in these games against Regina, had a pretty good Western Conference finale against Kelowna. Keegan Kolazar gets his first goal on a 3-point night. But I was very interested to hear the comments of Steve Konowalchuk when he was asked about, is this the motivator? Is there momentum now on your side? And I guess there is after a victory and after you hand your opponent their most lopsided defeat of the year. But now we're into a best of 3, and both teams have had topsy-turvy games, and both teams have left the ice jubilant and deflated. And to me, and I pose this to the former player and coach in this roundtable right now, I don't truly know if either team has the huge edge and momentum going into the final 3 games of this series.
I would agree with that for the most part. I think both teams have a healthy respect for each other, and these are teams that scored the first most amount of goals in the regular season, and Seattle scored 276 as well. So these are 2 teams that can score well. They know how to win. Seattle obviously back-to-back appearances in the Western Conference or the Western Hockey League Championship, but if there is a bit of momentum, I would say a little bit to Seattle, just because of the fact that Gropp scored, Colasar scored, and they've got Vulcan on the board now, so that is going to do nothing but give them confidence. But you're right, I mean, this is a toss-up, two great teams, and that's why this series has been so entertaining.
Steve Konowalchuk was asked, what does this win mean going to Game 5 Friday? Means we're tied at 2 and getting ready for Game 5 on Friday night, and so will we, starting at 7:30 Pacific Time. Keegan Colasar, a goal and 2 assists. Seattle a 6-1 winner. The series tied at 2 here on Levitt Machinery, WHL on Shaw and Access.
Levitt Machinery WHL Hockey is live on Shaw. Catch the NHL stars of tomorrow today. The road to WHL Championship glory ends here when the Regina Pats battle the Seattle Thunderbirds for the right to be crowned Edge&Out Cup champions. For complete playoff broadcast information, visit shawtv.ca or whl.ca.
Hi, I'm Don Taylor here at Levitt Machinery, inviting you to watch Levitt Machinery's WHL on Shaw.
Well, 3 one-goal games to start the WHL Championship Series, and Regina trying to take a stranglehold in Game 4 tonight. Seattle trying to even the affair. Sam Steele there scoring his 10th to give Regina an early 1-0 lead, but then it was all Thunderbirds after that with 6 unanswered goals, and the series is now in fact tied at 2 after a 6-1 decision in Game 4, and so that sets us up